Hello, everyone. Welcome. So you might notice there is no Mark today. He has been pulled away. So sadly, you're all stuck with myself. But luckily, we've got Triple Gaff here. And
What up,
Spaldrum.
boys?
Hello, folks. Yeah, second episode, and somehow ended up as one of the hosts.
That's right, back for Death Guard.
It's the way it is. It's the way it is. There's always willing volunteers, whether it be for Chaos or the Imperium. So we're all just here for the Monopoly money that Mark posts us. So today we're talking about the Death Guard, their origins, 30k era, where they come from, what they're about, whether they really are stinky. We'll find out today.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm Fishy. I've been in a couple of times, and yeah, we'll cover off some housekeeping.
Yeah. Don't forget to join the Discord. We have the links down below, I think. Yeah, we do. There's a link to all links section. You can join the Discord, and if you are a subscriber in Patreon, you can maybe end up in here as well in one of the episodes as a guest or host. God knows what. Yeah.
So
lovely stuff.
Speaking of the Patreon, you can join the Imperial Tithe and support the show. You can get an ad-free version of the podcast for just $2.50. I think that converts to about 1.5 cups of tea per gallon. Or the live stream version for just $5. That's how I ended up here. If you join the live stream, it's great fun. You can come and harass us.
Yeah, and joining the Patreon's the place to be because it gets you into the stream. You can watch the chat with us while we're talking, call in at the end, and it's usually the road to being host, which is I think all of us got here. I was about to say me and Spaldrum last episode, but you too, Fishy, huh?
Yeah. I sort of foolishly volunteered on the Discord about Imperial Guard armor because I'm an ex-tanky. So that was it. Mark was talking about the Astartes tanks, and we started talking about ground pressures of tracks and armor thickness and relative, armor thickness because of angling. It got dark. I mean, I sent someone a picture of my nipple the other week on the Discord, so anything can happen.
I actually remember that conversation.
That's why you got to join the Discord. That's where you get those pictures.
Just to see nipple pictures. Yeah, so today we're going to talk Death Guard, 30k, where they come from. So the Death Lord, the Warlords of Dusk, the Great Crusade, the Horus Heresy, and all of the good stuff that comes with the Horus Heresy. What they look like, what their beliefs are, where the gene seed comes from, because let's be honest, everyone's a little bit special. Their beliefs as well. Don't forget their beliefs, because I'm sure everyone believes in something. Their combat doctrine, which apart from just being gross, I think there must be more than that. Organization and their wargear. So we're going to cover quite a bit today.
I'm looking forward to it. I got a lot of notes from codexes and Horus Heresy books just to add on some little tips.
Nice.
I know about 5 things about them. I know that they walk everywhere and they're stinky. And as far as I know, Mortarion is also a bit of a cynic as well. He's like, well, if anyone is, too weak, if they get sick or exhausted and they fall behind, then they're not worthy of being Death Guard, which is, I don't know. Yeah, I guess he's not that lovely of a Primarch.
I mean, just before we, we'll talk about it a bit further on. There is a suggestion that the Death Guard come from Old Blighty, and it's a very British thing. Well, if they don't survive, then do we really need them as heirs? Let's just.
Okay,
also,
shall I get started?
Let's crack on. I think it's going to be a good one.
Formerly known as the Dusk Raiders, and calling themselves the Unbroken, the Death Guard were the 14th Legion of the original 20 Legionnaires Astartes, led by their Primarch Mortarion. After his discovery, the Legion relocated to Barbarus, where its toxic environment reinforced their belief in endurance through suffering. During the Horus Heresy, Mortarion led the Legion into Horus's rebellion, a path that ultimately brought them into the service of Nurgle and sealed their eternal corruption. Yeah, you're up fishing.
Yeah. So, the origins. The origins of the 14th Legion lie in the Unification Wars, when Terra was divided between rival techno-barbarian kingdoms. Their earliest recruits came from the warlike clans of Old Albia, a realm renowned for its industrial strength, disciplined soldiers, and relentless culture of warfare. These warriors were already hardened by conflict, making them ideal candidates for the Emperor's gene forges. Their endurance, discipline, and acceptance of attritional warfare became the foundation of the Legion's identity. Just to take a quick break, I'm picturing like Victorian smog-covered football hooligans.
That's what I was thinking too.
But then that little note about the acceptance of attritional warfare, that to me is First World War doctrine. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be grimy. You're going to stink. You're not going to be able to wash. You're going to have lice. But it's going to be okay because eventually we'll grind them down. Very stiff upper lip, largely so you can't smell yourself. The recruitment of Old Albia served a greater purpose than simply raising Space Marines. Once a formidable rival to the Emperor, Albia had resisted Imperial conquest with heavily armoured Ironside infantry and powerful proto-dreadnought war engines. Rather than destroy the region after a costly campaign, the Emperor negotiated its compliance, absorbing its finest warriors and military traditions into the growing Imperium while removing a potential future threat. Sounds very British Empire. From these Albion bloodlines, the 14th Legion was forged. Drawing heavily upon Ironside doctrine, the Legion became specialists in heavy infantry warfare, methodical assaults, and unwavering defense. They excelled in battles of endurance, advancing through sustained punishment and holding their ground where other forces would break. Long before Mortarion's discovery, the Legion had already earned a reputation for resilience, discipline, and relentless determination. These Terran foundations shaped everything the Legion would later become. Before they were known as the Death Guard, the 14th had already embraced hardship as a way of war. Forged from former enemies of the Emperor, they stood apart from many of their brother legions, united not by glory or ambition, but by an unyielding belief that victory belonged to those who could endure the longest. It goes quite hard, that.
It's really tricky to get. I struggled last episode talking about Mortarion's personality and character because it changes so much through the books. There's stuff I held off on because there's a lot of opinion with his character, but you get a lot of that through the Death Guard, how they're structured, their origins, because so much is left vague about Mortarion that the structure of the Death Guard provides a really good insight into his personality specifically.
To me, it kind of surprises me because it seems so perfect for what the Death Guard would become. That he kind of shunned the Dusk, he shunned the Terran warriors when he came in, and it almost doesn't make sense. But then it comes back to when we were talking about Mortarion in the first episode. To me, it comes down to that prideful part of Mortarion. It's not his, so it's not good enough. It might be perfect. It might be great setup, but it's not mine, so I don't care.
True. And even with Albion culture, they reference like the big smokestack towers, pretty obviously Britain. But the Emperor never got to crushing Albion. They were going to win, but he ended up showing up like in clothes like a normal person to discuss a ceasefire. And that's how he got the Albians on his side. So even that kind of, maybe not loyalty, but nobility in their culture was present even before Mortarion showed up.
Yeah, I suppose that sort of cultural thing where they're used to attritional warfare. Perhaps they just saw the writing on the wall and thought, well, if you can't beat them, join them.
Probably.
To an extent, that British sensibility.
Well, once they joined them, they became the Dusk Raiders. As the Great Crusade expanded beyond Terra, the 14th Legion matured into a formidable fighting force despite lacking a Primarch. As one of the Imperium's orphan legions, it forged its identity through campaign experience rather than the guidance of a single leader. Discipline, cohesion, and battlefield necessity shaped its doctrine, creating a force defined by endurance and methodical warfare. The 14th specialized in heavy infantry operations, favoring deliberate advances over speed or complex maneuvers. They absorbed enemy attacks, held defensive lines with unwavering resolve, and advanced through relentless pressure until resistance collapsed. Victory was achieved through attrition, close-range firepower, and disciplined formations rather than rapid assaults or tactical brilliance. During this era, the Legion earned the name Dusk Raiders from its enemies. Their preferred tactic was launching major offensives at nightfall, exploiting fading light to disrupt enemy coordination and morale. The reputation of the Dusk Raiders became so feared that some defenders abandoned their positions before battle was even joined. Against compliant human worlds, the Legion honored terms of surrender and enforced imperial rule with discipline. Against Xenos, mutants, and irredeemable foes, however, they showed no mercy, pursuing complete methodical destruction. Without a Primarch, the 14th developed an uncommon degree of independence and unity. Its warriors believed their strength came not from a single leader, but from the shared discipline and hard-earned experience. By the time Mortarion was finally discovered, the Dusk Raiders had already established themselves as one of the Great Crusade's most resilient and relentless legions, a force whose identity had been forged through endurance long before it was reshaped into the Death Guard.
Yeah, the trench warfare thing is really, really fitting. Like, I didn't really think about them like that before, but the way it's described in here, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna walk you down.
Yeah.
I mean, the bit about them honoring terms of surrender isn't quite accurate to some of the British shenanigans, but yeah, they do just, for me as a Legion, they just kind of just hit hard, and the whole Dusk thing, attacking just before nightfall. I mean, that's doctrine that's still employed today by the British Army. Dawn or Dusk attacks. Dawn or Dusk attacks, you hit them when they're tired, and their kit is usually everywhere when they're not really wanting you to attack.
I thought it's more like a night raid, like night trench raids. That kind of thing came to mind.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the Dusk thing, like how the British Army used that.
News to me too. I didn't think it was a very good idea, honestly. So now I know that the British does it too. I was like, okay, attacking at dusk. I guess that does make sense.
Yeah, is it like a shift change time maybe?
Yeah.
Like the day shift, night shift, and the dusk time is like where it's least organized. So they just go while everyone is having their dinner or something. I don't bloody know.
Yeah, or they're then packing their kit down. Oh, they haven't attacked us just yet. They haven't attacked us during the daylight, so we're probably okay until about midnight or when it's properly dark. You know, it's that sort of thing. It's that intermediate.
There's also the thing, I don't know in what kind of stuff it was used, but like some armies used certain times of day to attack from certain directions. So like the sun is coming from like the place they're going to attack. So it's harder to look at that general direction and aim and whatnot. So maybe there's some sort of connection with that shit too. I don't know.
Yeah.
To be honest, I really don't know shit about this chapter of Legion, so I'm just...
I don't know shit about military. So when they're like, yeah, the crushing military stractics, I'm like, sure. Whatever you guys say.
We'll go with that.
Okay, continuing with the Death Lords. The 14th Legion was reunited with its Primarch, Mortarion, on the toxic world of Barbarus during the latter years of the Great Crusade. While the Dusk Raiders had already established a formidable reputation as disciplined heavy infantry, Mortarion rapidly reshaped the Legion in his own image. Their traditions of endurance and attritional warfare were refined into a harsher, more uncompromising doctrine centered on relentless advance and absolute resilience. The Legion abandoned the title of Dusk Raiders and adopted the name Death Guard, reflecting both Mortarion's origins as the liberator of Barbarus and his belief that his warriors were unyielding guardians of humanity, willing to endure any hardship and inflict any sacrifice necessary to achieve victory. During this time, they also started to replace their purity seals with toilet papers. And originally their color was like white and silver, but in time, because of all the shit and whatnot, they became greener and more brown. But that's like very niche. It's not you can't find that information everywhere. Source,
yeah, it won't be in the codexes. Just trust us.
Yeah.
It's canon.
To be fucking honest, it probably is written in one of the books. in one of the early books, Sanguinius has black hair apparently.
Yeah, dyed for mourning, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, anything's possible. Rogaldorn has beards. Sometimes it's clean shaven. Sometimes it has pink hair or whatnot.
Yeah, Lehman with his red hair too.
Everything is canon. Not everything is true.
It's fine because you can just go back and retcon everything, can't you? It's not like there's almost an entire history built up around this universe now. That's most of it is pretty well established at this point.
What do you mean? We always had female custodians. It was always.
Yeah. The Primaris Marines were always a plan.
Yeah.
10,000 years in the making.
Definitely not to sell more models.
Don't get me wrong. I am the first to be judgmental of GW's marketing. Speaking as a guard player who was very sad that they no longer sell guard in a 20-man box. But yeah, I love the Primaris models. I will say that. I wish they'd do something with the chaos stuff.
Yeah, well, Mark is not here. We should all confess.
Yeah. Now we can go for it. We can be really positive about female Primaris.
He's gonna come back to the stream and kick us all out.
I hope you enjoyed the last episode of Lorehammer, everybody.
We're saying about like how their uniform, how their kit goes all horrid and moldy and worn in. That's kind of similar to the red coats. So a little historical throwback. In India, the British red coats would actually fade to pink as the dye became sun bleached. So having a pink coat was actually a bit of a sign of honor that you'd served in India. And you'd let it get dirty, you'd let it wear in, you'd let it fade, you'd let it get covered in dust. World War II is a prime example of this, where RAF personnel in Normandy were actually shot friendly fire because they'd let their lovely blue uniforms get so dirty that they looked like German field grey.
That's so unlucky.
There's a bit of tradition within the British of the army being a bit stinky because we kind of get a bit wild. So our nickname to other armed forces in the UK is Pongos. We're known as Pongos. The RAF, the Royal Air Force, are crabs, and the Royal Navy are Jactars. So the reason the army are called Pongos is because where the army goes, the pong goes.
What's the pong?
Pong, Pong, smell.
Ah!
Yeah, so we're Pongos. So yeah, it's kind of fitting now. I suddenly want to create a Death Guard army.
Jeez.
I didn't see the connections until I was researching for this, but there's a lot of overplay with Britain and the
Yeah,
Death
yeah,
Guard.
No,
yeah.
me neither. I mean,
Pretty hilarious.
Dark Angels, that's what I thought. It's like, the ultimate British chapter Legion. Yeah, I didn't think we were going to get another one.
I mean, let's be honest. Mortarion Guard are the pinnacle, or maybe the Praetorians, but they're the pinnacle of British. But the Death Guard actually are a fantastic portrayal so far. So the Great Crusade following their transformation under Mortarion, the Death Guard became one of the Imperium's most dependable and feared legions. They were repeatedly deployed to the most inhospitable war zones, including worlds contaminated by radiation, chemical warfare, biological hazards, and extreme environmental conditions that would have crippled conventional armies. Masters of siege warfare, attritional campaigns, and prolonged planetary assaults, they excelled in battles where endurance proved more decisive than speed or maneuver. Throughout the Great Crusade, they secured countless compliance actions, earned an unmatched reputation for resilience, and became recognized as the legion sent to wage wars that no other force could endure. I'll take that.
Among the Legion Astartes, the Death Guard maintained one of their closest relationships with the 16th Legion, the Sons of Horus. Mortarion and Horus developed a strong mutual respect, forged through years of campaigning together during the Great Crusade, and a shared belief in decisive, practical warfare over ceremony or glory. The two legions frequently fought alongside one another in major compliance actions, where the Death Guard's relentless infantry assaults complemented the aggressive spearhead tactics of the Sons of Horus. This long-standing trust made Mortarion one of Horus's most reliable allies, and when the War Master declared his rebellion, the Death Guard followed him with little hesitation, bound as much by loyalty to their Primarch as by their confidence in Horus's leadership.
I didn't know they were close.
Me neither, and I read all their books.
As far as I know, Mortarion doesn't really get along with any other fallen Primarchs. Does he?
He's, I suppose I'd say close for Mortarion. I'll save this because I think it's in the notes and I don't want to jump too ahead too much. But he does stick pretty tight with Horus. He follows him for a lot of his campaigns. He shows up with him a lot in the siege and a really important campaign that's probably coming up halfway through the heresy.
Oh, God's sake. Mortarion's decision to join Horus was born from long-held distrust of the Emperor rather than simple ambition or desire for power. Though fiercely loyal during the Great Crusade, Mortarion believed the Emperor had become increasingly distant, secretive, and authoritarian, withholding knowledge from his sons while demanding unquestioning obedience. He also never forgave the Emperor for denying him the chance to personally slay the final overlord of Barbarus. A moment Mortarion viewed as both a personal humiliation and a symbol of the Emperor's willingness to impose his will upon others. Horus exploited these resentments, presenting the rebellion as a struggle to free the Imperium from a tyrant who had abandoned the ideals of the Great Crusade. Bound by absolute loyalty to their Primarch and sharing his growing disillusionment, the Death Guard followed the Mortarion into rebellion with little internal division. To them, Horus Heresy was not initially a war for chaos, but a war to overthrow an emperor they believed had betrayed both his vision and the warriors who had built his imperium. So it's kind of a, petty thing to be like, oh, you stole my fucking last kill. Sometimes I feel like the Primarchs are written a little bit too childlike. Like, who gives a fuck who killed the last tyrants of the fucking planet?
Mhm.
If anything, you should be like, oh, okay, at least we're on the same page. Right? It's like, nah, stole my kill. Very, yeah.
I think it was a Christian that made this point episodes and episodes ago about how the Primarchs kind of act like, I think it was, he said, the Greek pantheon, how all their gods are
I remember
childish
that
because that
thing.
exaggerated emotion. Yeah, but his is particularly petty. Him and Perturabo.
I mean, this is kind of similar to Angron, but not really as well, because Angron's rebellion failed because Emperor plucked him out. But in this one, it's like the opposite. He's like, okay, let me pitch in and do something. And it's like, he's not the father of the year, but I mean, it's like if he helps, it's a problem. If he doesn't help, it's a problem. Like, what the fuck do you guys want? Yeah.
That was him trying to overcorrect after Angron. This time I'll help.
At some point, he just stops giving a fuck. Like, whatever. He raises them like, you first.
It's just that tired dad. With like a 5-year-old's birthday pie, I just give up.
He gives them hands them the tablets, opens just fucking YouTube shorts, whatever.
And in effect, the Great Crusade is like feeding them loads of cake and chocolate and sweets, so they're hyped up on sugar and war and blood. And then I no, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm done.
It's a good point that they kind of get like dropped off during the Great Crusade, dropped off at their aunt's house. I mentioned it last episode for Mortarion, but his first compliance was him crushing the ruling nobility of a planet for how they treated people. But Horus and Sanguinius were present to oversee his first compliance, and they kind of shit all over him for it. Rightly so, because he does a pretty awful job. But they let him know, like, this isn't what the Great Crusade means. This isn't what it means to be a defender of humanity. And he's right there questioning himself on, is this true? Do I need to soften up for people? But one of the slaves that he had collecting skulls brought him a skull of one of the tyrants. And that was the moment where he was like, no, this is perfect. She clearly loves this. So he took her along as a little, I suppose, pet human to hang out. They set it up like she's always going to be around, but she's just in that one book. But it's still pretty neat. It's a little sentimental moment from Mortarion.
It's a sentimental moment that is also a deep reminder of the fact he's become a tyrant himself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to see a lot more of that.
Oh, yeah. See, I used to be quite warm to Mortarion because I happily hold my hands up. I don't know much about him. And I was always under the understanding, we'll talk about it later, no doubt, but he sacrificed a bit. He didn't go willingly into that good night of chaos. I'm now sort of sat here thinking, do you know what? He gets what he deserves.
Listen to me, Morty. You get what you deserve.
Yeah. Rotten on the outside, rotten on the inside. Kind of matches.
Yeah, ruined person.
But also just slightly harks back to the Terran gene seed and the gene of Albia still resisting the Emperor to the last.
Yeah.
And there's that underlying, do you know what? This is just unfinished business to us. It's not about chaos. We kind of want to get back at the Emperor. Why not? Now's our chance. Talk about attritional warfare to the max.
The long game.
There's the long game, and then there's that. And us British, we can hold on to things for a long, long time. Which is a point I should say for yesterday. Happy Treason Day to our American viewers and listeners.
That's right.
I had to say it, especially with Mark not here. Lawhammer Legal can deal with it. It's fine. So the Isstvan system. Ooh. The Isstvan system marked the true breaking point of the Great Crusade and the opening act of the Horus Heresy. At Isstvan III, the Death Guard, alongside several other legions, enacted the first great betrayal of the war, purging loyalist elements within their own ranks in a sustained orbital and planetary annihilation. Entire formations of Astartes were isolated and destroyed under the guise of compliance operations, their resistance broken by overwhelming force and orbital bombardment. This internal slaughter marked the first irreversible fracture within the Legion's Astartes, as brothers turned on brother upon brother under the orders of their Primarchs. The conflict escalated further at Isstvan V, where loyalist legions responding to the initial atrocity were ambushed upon the surface in what would become known as the Drop Site Massacre. There the Death Guard fought openly against their former kin, committing their full strength to the destruction of legions that had once stood beside them during the Great Crusade. The battle devolved into a protracted and brutal engagement of attritional warfare, where containment and annihilation replaced all former bonds of unity. From Isstvan onwards, the Death Guard ceased to be a legion of conquest within a unified imperium, and became instead an instrument of civil war, defined by unwavering endurance in the service of Horus's rebellion. I just imagine the Death Guard being very matter of fact about it. Like, orders is orders. They're going.
Well, Dad said so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Isstvan, I think, would bring a tear to anyone's eye. Let's be honest. But yeah, I suppose that's probably where the last of the true Terran blood was spilled.
I think so. Isstvan's really dicey with the Death Guard, and it's only about to get dicier since they're doing. I have the books, but I haven't read them yet. I'm waiting for them to pile up a little more. I don't know if it's a redo of the Horus Heresy or if it's just extra information on top.
Okay.
But they're about to redo the Horus Heresy. I was looking at the Dramatica Personality of both of the books. Mortarion's in both of them. No Death Guard named characters in the classic or the redo. But they had 95,000 Marines at the end of the Great Crusade, and they dropped about 25,000 of them at Isstvan. So from Isstvan to the end of the heresy, excluding losses and new numbers, they're working with around 75,000.
Yeah. Yeah. To purge out over a quarter of your own guys.
Pretty
That's
decent for traders, I think.
Yeah, that's quite a chunk. Quite a chunk.
For sure. Let me see. The Doom of the Death Guard. Following the opening battles of the Horus Heresy, the Death Guard set course for Terra. Unknown to Mortarion, First Captain Callus Typhon had already pledged himself to Nurgle. After murdering the Legion's navigators, Typhon convinced Mortarion to trust his psychic abilities to guide the fleet through the warp, delivering the entire Legion into Nurgle's grasp. Trapped within the Immaterium, the Death Guard were consumed by the Destroyer Plague. Flesh rotted, armor fused to bone, and their legendary resilience became a curse, preventing death while condemning them to an endless agony. Unable to save his sons, Mortarion finally surrendered himself and the Legion to Nurgle in exchange for an end to their suffering. The pain ceased, but the 14th Legion emerged forever transformed into the first Plague Marines. When the fleet finally reached real space, the Death Guard were no longer the warriors who had left Barbarus. Their diseased bodies, corrupted wargear, and unnatural endurance marked them as servants of the Plague God, while Mortarion began his ascension to demonhood. The Legion still fought during the Siege of Terra, but after Horus's defeat, Mortarion was banished during his duel with Jaghadai Khan. The surviving Death Guard fought their way from Terra and reunited with their Primarch upon the Plague Planet within the Eye of Terror, where he completed his transformation into Nurgle's Demon Prince. Though some embraced their corruption and others despised it, all were forever bound to Nurgle. The endurance that had once defined the Death Guard now existed only to spread decay, disease, and the inevitable ruin across the galaxy. Whew, there's a lot with this. Let me see.
I mean, for me, I love that endurance changes to inevitability. You know, we're going to keep standing and we're going to keep going. But now, by keeping going and by standing, you're destroying yourself and everything around you. And it's that complete opposite, or the weaponization of that endurance almost.
It's like they're weaponized despair, but their physical forms are still, they will never give in to despair. They'll endure.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. So before they went to Terra, let me see. Do you guys remember the T'Cholcha engine from the Dark Angels and Lion?
Sounds familiar because it's a weird name, but I have no idea.
Okay. I have these events. I couldn't find a timeline for them. But before they go to Terra, Mortarion and Typhus split the Death Guard. Typhon goes to whatever planet the T'Cholcha engine is on, and he's trying to get that engine, which is essentially a child servitor strapped to a big machine that the Lion uses in the Rock to warp displace all over the place. Typhon tried to get that from him, but the Lion ended up getting it. And then while Mortarion is with Horus on Molech, trying to reopen the warp portal the Emperor used to make a deal with the Chaos Gods, Horus and Mortarion are there. Typhon is going back to Caliban because he's hanging out with Luther and letting him know all these dark secrets about chaos. And that's about... He does some work in stalling the Dark Angels, because I've always seen them as the biggest threat in the heresy. Make sure the Dark Angels don't get involved. So Typhon does some work stalling them, and then Kurz and the Night Lords do a lot of work making sure the Dark Angels can't stop the whole heresy, essentially.
I mean, it's almost like people didn't want the Dark Angels involved. Can't imagine why. And I will also point out, you know, the loyalists are the good guys, and yet this machine that they're trying to get hold of, it's not a very nice machine.
Good thing we slaved that inside. Yeah, it's like it's just a servitor, but the body they're using is a kid. So throughout like the depictions, the kid's body just gets nastier and nastier. It's pretty grim.
If it's just one body in the grand scheme of things, I suppose it's fine.
The greater good.
How many miles can you get out of a 10-year-old?
Yeah, why not?
No comment. Yeah, no comment. Putting the infant back in infantry.
Yeah. Okay, should I continue with the second battle of Prospero?
Yeah.
Okay. For the Death Guard, the second battle of Prospero was intended to secure the White Scars through diplomacy rather than conquest. Mortarion believed that the warrior lodges would deliver Jagatai Khan to Horus' cause, but the Khan rejected his brother's arguments and remained loyal to the Emperor. With the White Scars united against the War Master, Mortarion withdrew rather than waste his legion in a costly engagement. The campaign ended as a strategic failure, denying Horus a powerful ally and establishing a lasting rivalry between the Death Guard and the White Scars that would reach its climax during the Siege of Terra. I think Jagatai Khan was one of the Primarchs that was like, should I, shouldn't I? Like, it was really in between, on the fence to stay loyal or betray. Which I find, I don't know, strange. Would you even consider something like that?
I don't think it's necessarily that he's debating joining the traitors. I might have, at least what I got from it was, I always felt like the Khan was going to be true to himself and his beliefs no matter what. But with the opening of his heresy, he's trying to decide what his beliefs are, even.
Yeah, I suppose it's that unknown to him.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds weird, but he's kind of like the university student on a gap year. I just need to go and find myself. I need to go and ride some bikes. I need to go fast. I need to let my hair grow out. I'm going to go to Peru. I'm going to talk with the locals.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go to Prospero on holiday.
Yeah, as you do. On my gap year. All of a sudden, I've got this really upper class British calm in my head, and I'm not entirely sure that I'm comfortable with it. That's ruined the White Scars for me.
This all happened. So everything I just said, this is happening roughly around the same time that Typhus's fleet is hanging out with the Dark Angels, because they split themselves in two.
Yeah. They're trying to cover a lot of ground and make sure there's a few players that don't get too embroiled too early.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to be smart. And it sort of works. It gets them to where they want to be.
I'd say overall it works. And it just goes to show how impactful the Dark Angels actually were. For the traitors to just be throwing Legion assets, like, don't even let them show up. Keep them out.
Yeah. So the siege of Inwit saw the Death Guard wage a prolonged campaign of blockade and attrition against the fortress realm of the Imperial Fists. Fighting alongside several traitor legions, they sought to isolate Inwit, destroy its military strength, and prevent reinforcements from reaching Terra. Although they devastated much of the surrounding system and maintained relentless pressure for years, the defenders refused to break. Ordered to abandon the campaign for the coming siege of Terra, the Death Guard withdrew, having demonstrated the power of their siege doctrine, but without achieving their primary objective. Again, throwback to the British Empire. We were great at blockade. Oh, you don't want to give up to us? That's fine. Do you like your supplies from the sea? Because you don't get them anymore. But again, they're at this for years. You know, it's multiple years of blockade and siege. And it kind of speaks to the Imperial Fist's ability to withstand that.
It's especially because the Imperial Fists are on Terra at this point too, so that would have to be like a garrison hanging out at Inwit, dealing with Typhon and his fleets pulling up.
Yeah, and just sitting there like, no, come and get it. Come and take it from us. We're waiting.
It's one of the cooler things about the Death Guard. They've got a lot of raids on the homeworlds of other Astartes.
Yeah.
The Battle of Nocturne. No, sorry, please, you go.
No, they're kind of like the big bad for the loyalist legions.
Yeah.
Like they're the boogeyman. Don't say that, or the Death Guard will come and besiege you.
They're really good at keeping a villainous 11th hour going, where they're the biggest and the baddest, and their diseases are rotting time, and they're the best at everything. But they're just weak enough to be dangerous villains for every other faction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Without being all powerful. That's it.
At Nocturne, the Death Guard joined the traitor assault on the Salamander's homeworld, hoping to eliminate another Loyalist Legion before the final invasion of Terra. Employing their characteristic method of relentless infantry warfare, they advance through the planet's hostile terrain in a sustained campaign of attrition. Despite inflicting widespread destruction, the Salamanders endured, forcing the Death Guard to withdraw when Horus recalled his legions for the siege of Terra. The campaign weakened the Loyalists, but ultimately failed to remove one of the Imperium's most resilient legions from war.
I have a little question, since I know almost nothing about the Death Guard. Do these guys use artillery or something? When we say attrition warfare, do they just encircle and fucking wait? Because, I mean, how does that work in a, sci-fi fantasy kind of environment? There are spaceships and teleportation and shit.
So this is... I worded this really poorly in the Mortarion episode. I said something stupid like Sanguinius is always Sanguinius, but Mortarion changes his mind. Oh. The better way to put it would be you get information on Mortarion in the Death Guard, but it's vague enough to where your personal idea of the character and Legion has enough gaps for you to fill in their own. Kind of a create your own character in a light way. But I couldn't find anything about siege or artillery for 30k, but they have plague burst crawlers in 40k. So I'd assume they have some kind of artillery if they're modifying it into PDCs later on during the year. I'm assuming they had some kind of base that they were using beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have Vindicators. They're going to have all of the good Astartes artillery. I mean, 30k, I believe the Astartes were even using Basilisks.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have the same armory, I suppose. And if the Death Guard are already employing attritional warfare during their campaigns in the Great Crusade, they're going to be slightly geared up to that. So I guess their armory should reflect that somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat, but they lost a lot of their armor during the Loyalist Purge. Not all, but a lot. And part of what makes them tricky is they just make things up in their books because of all the chemical weapons they use. Like, we have chemical bleep blorp in our specialized bleep blorp chemical cannons, and that's what our Legion uses.
Like,
so who
I
knows
know
how much
how
of those?
the 40k version Death Guards, yeah, like, even if they're miles away from you, you basically start getting sick as they get closer and closer. So that attrition makes total sense, but how the fuck do they do the 30k attrition thing? That's the part that just doesn't sit right with me.
With all their infantry too.
Yeah, here's a common cold from space.
They just get their ships close enough, so it's like everyone starts getting cancer over the over a couple of years. Everyone just gets cancer, but that's attrition. Well, we're gonna win eventually. We don't get old.
Someone just sneezes through a teleporter. You could have so much fun with how they do it. To be fair, really thinking about it, are they sending off random like spores through the ether into orbit somehow? It could be all sorts.
At first, I kind of thought like trench warfare, since we were speaking of that. They're like, basically like Imperial Guard, but Astartes, bigger weapons, better soldiers and such. But yeah, when they're talking about sieges of fucking hive cities, they're like, how do you do it? How do you apply attrition to the place? It already has its own fucking ecosystem.
And it's kind of a throwback when you're thinking about, or at least in my mind, thinking about the siege of a city. Throwback to the medieval times when you're trebucheting rotten livestock over the walls to introduce disease. I kind of get that sort of vibe, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the standard GW, let's make it up as we go along. Chemical weapons come in, but I can sort of see it. Give them their dues. And let's be honest, if they've got a lot less in their armory, they're going to get a bit more imaginative.
No.
That's what I was going to say. The codexes do a really good job at giving you a vibe of the Death Guard, like siege, holding siege, disease, tanky. But especially because it's of the focus on disease and chemical and mutation, it's kind of just left to your imagination what they would actually get up to. It's like,
Yeah.
come up with something in your head that sounds right, and that's probably what they do.
Yeah.
It's nice within Warhammer lore now to be able to have space for that as well, because quite a bit of it is quite pinned down. So to give you the option of, for my army they do this, because that's how I read XYZ. It's quite nice to have that bit of space.
Exactly. I didn't like it when I was first starting to read them, but the more I got into the setting and the more things started to get nailed down, it's something I started to appreciate more and more. All the wiggle room they've got.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Deathcore of Creed guy. I'm sorry, everyone. And they're very
I respect it.
They're very stereotyped in they're going to do this and just die. But actually, you start looking at some of their characters and looking at some of their officers in particular, and you start to realize that that's not strictly true. I mean, there's one character who went off with an Inquisitor and ended up talking to an officer that was very similar to him in his youth, and basically said it's not as black and white as you think. So I'm actually, having started collecting and listening to the podcast, I've started doing my own homebrew. So to have that just enough wiggle room within the lore to introduce, well, my tank commander is known because he actually did XYZ. So to be able to come up with an army that's slightly different, and you can add your own twist and add your own stories, is great.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the Siege of Barbarus. From the Death Guard's perspective, the Siege of Barbarus was not a conquest, but a reckoning with their own origins. Following Mortarion's ascension as a demon Primarch and the full corruption of the Legion under the Nurgle, Barbarus became both a symbolic and a strategic target during the wider wars of the Heresy. The world that had forged Mortarion's hatred of tyranny now stood as a remnant of his past, still inhabited by the surviving structures and echoes of the regime he had once overthrown. For the Death Guard, the campaign was shaped less by tactical necessity and more by inevitability, a return to the cradle of their identity, now seen through the lens of decay. The assault was prosecuted with the Legion's characteristic attritional doctrine. Death Guard forces advanced through the toxic atmosphere and shattered fortifications of Barbarus, engaging in prolonged grinding warfare against whatever resistance remained. By this stage, the Legion no longer fought as a disciplined 14th of the Great Crusade, but as Plague Marines fully bound to Nurgle's will. Their resilience, once a mark of endurance, had become unnatural persistence beyond mortal limits, allowing them to advance through conditions that would annihilate any other force. Barbarus itself, already a world defined by poison and desolation, offered little resistance to the transformed Legion. What resistance did remain was overwhelmed by the sheer inevitability of the Death Guard's advance. The campaign lacked the honor or finality of early conflicts. Instead, it reflected the collapse of the past meaning. Mortarion's forces did not reclaim their homeworld so much as consume it, erasing the last distinction between origin and corruption. In the aftermath, Barbarus ceased to exist as anything resembling its former self. For the Death Guard, the siege marked the final serving of their mortal past, confirming that they were no longer sons of Barbarus, but eternal instruments of decay in service to Nurgle. bound to wage endless war without home or redemption. Wow, last words were quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Just really, yeah. In short, they fucked up big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
a lot, Mortarion. Yeah.
It really is the final tie to cut.
Yeah.
You know, Mortarion came in and changed it to the Death Guard. Everything was about his experience on Barbarus. That's what he shaped the Legion on. And then, now that gotten intertwined with Nurgle, they've now erased that past.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm kind of
Almost as
lost.
if-
Sorry, you go for it.
Yeah, you go.
I'm kind of lost as to the objective of this. Because when I was going through the timeline, their timeline is a fucking disaster. So there's another reference of the Dark Angels blowing up Barbarus, not during the Great Scouring, because I know that's coming, but before the Siege of Terra. And something called the Passage of Angels. But there's also this too.
it's almost if we do this to our own planet, imagine what we'll do to yours. And it's sort of, yeah, to me, it's almost like kind of Nurgle's power. You're going to go and mess up your own planet now.
Yeah, I suppose it's, especially since his father got kill-stealed, this is really his domination and claim to Barbarus.
Yeah. And perhaps there is no reason.
Yeah, maybe they're just driving by.
Yeah, just, you know what? I don't like that place anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's chaos. You shouldn't look for too many reasons in the end of
My
the day.
lieutenant bullied me as an aspirant.
Yeah.
Send a macro torpedo right there.
So, the Battle of Terra. From the Death Guard's perspective, the Siege of Terra represented the culmination of all endurance, a final test of whether relentless attrition could break even the Emperor's sanctum. Arriving as part of Horus's vast invasion fleet, the 14th Legion entered the Sol system already transformed, their bodies and armor long since rewritten by Nurgle's blessing. They were no longer a legion of disciplined infantry, but an advancing contagion, committed to the slow suffocation of resistance through inevitability rather than speed or precision. During the assault on the Imperial Palace and its outer defences, the Death Guard were tasked with grinding down entrenched loyalist formations across some of the most heavily fortified positions in the galaxy. Their doctrine of unyielding advance suited the shattered war zones of Terra, where bombardment, counter-assaults, and orbital fire turned entire districts into layered killing fields. The Death Guard absorbed punishment that would have annihilated lesser forces, continuing forward through the collapse, contamination, and ruin. Yet even here, the Loyalists refused to break. Their Imperial Fists, Blood Angels, and remaining defenders turned the palace into a fortress of layered defiance, where every meter was paid for in blood. The Death Guard's advance slowed, not from failure of will, but from the sheer density of resistance. Attrition warfare met its equal, and the outcome was decided not by endurance alone, but by the unraveling of Horus's wider strategy. When the War Master was ultimately defeated aboard the Vengeful Spirit, the traitor host on Terra collapsed. The Death Guard withdrew in grim cohesion, refusing disarray even in defeat. Unlike many of their allies, they did not scatter. Instead, they began their long passage back into the warp, already changed beyond recognition, carrying the weight of a failed siege that had still proven their doctrine. Nothing endured like the 14th, even in failure. The fact that they maintained their cohesion amidst a huge defeat speaks volumes.
Yeah.
In warfare, the majority of losses aren't during the battle itself; it's during the fallback or the retreat.
Mhm.
Because units rout, they get fed up, they see their guys, their buddies next door falling back, and they just run. But to have managed to, yeah, okay, we've lost, but we're going to keep going strong. We're still going to be inevitable, and I'm breaking. Yeah, that goes quite hard. That speaks a volume for the 14th.
They're so badass.
Yeah.
I have a question. In the end of the day, attrition means, the enemies crumble as you're trying to remain, proper. How do these guys recruit? I mean,
They kind of offhandedly mention in the siege books that a lot of the traitor numbers are like brand new Marines. I don't think we ever got the specifics or logistics. I couldn't find it. But I imagine them stopping at planets and just scooping people up with their own gene seed. They just killed a squad of Imperial Fists last week, so they've got some of their gene seed lying around, stuffing bodies. Just trying to get bodies and suits as fast as possible, I guess.
maybe it's actually easier for them to make new Marines because Nurgle is generally, durability. So maybe their statistics for making new Marines is kind of better, like their chances. Especially, like, Nurgle cultists also use a lot of, like, stims and chemicals and drugs, essentially, to, like, increase endurance and stuff, right? Like, when you play Darktide, for example, like, a lot of enemies have basically tubes of steroids sticking out of their shoulders and stuff. And, it's basically a naked dude, but you can't kill it because it's just so juiced up with all the chemicals. So maybe that's why, like, the attrition thing still works for them, because they just replenish their numbers really quickly. Maybe, I don't really know. But
I mean, I'm also thinking, like, this is kind of double nerding. It's also kind of mainstream. Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean, when he offers the dying sailors eternal life and savior. Is Mortarion going up to or whoever within the Death Guard, fallen Marines that aren't quite dead from a loyalist legion, and saying, that's really painful, isn't it? I've got a solution for you. And that's sort of bartering with the devil and bartering with chaos. Whether a loyalist resolve would falter, I don't know. I mean, it kind of has in the whole Horus Heresy. But whether there would be that weak link just amidst or just after a battle, I don't know. I've kind of got that image of the corruption creeping in that way to the dead and dying of the battlefield. Yeah, okay, you take them away, but the next battle they come back as your guys now.
That makes more sense. I kind of thought about my how do they recruit people thing, because people get sick and die before they even see the plague marines, because their stank is so bad. It's like kilometers of like death aura, basically. So how the hell do they find healthy enough kids to actually turn into marines? I thought, like, we should recruit some people, but before they can go there, they just fucking die.
I guess I always pictured, just because of the Nurgle hardiness, like, I'd imagine a plague marine would get hit right here, like in the chest and shoulder, with a plasma shot. And they don't have what's the word? The guys with the drill in their hand that collect gene seed.
The apothecaries.
Apothecary, thank you. They don't have apothecaries, they have plague surgeons, which don't heal the Marines. They're exclusively working on the disease in their body. So with Nurgle's hardiness in the progenoid gland, I always pictured someone just like jabbing their hand through your collarbone and pulling out the primogoid and just shoving it into someone's body. Not even cutting through, just fingers right through your chest, and it's gonna start
Jeez.
growing through your body, corrupting things.
See, I like that.
Yeah, very graphic.
Yeah.
like
And for all we know, again, it's headcanon. Whatever we want can be accurate, but it could be a combination of all three.
Yeah.
yeah.
Could be everything. We could all be wrong. One day it might be explained and then retconned and then changed again.
Don't we
by a
have
different author.
like veteran Death Guard enthusiast or something? Like, I feel like we're all very under-equipped to make this episode. We're just asking each other and like, maybe they're like starfish. You cut them in half and you get another.
We did have one. However, the smell from them had burnt through the webcam and mic.
Yeah. God damn it.
I was thinking about that with Mortarion last episode because I've painted all their range. I own every single Death Guard book that's been printed, and the whole time through the episode, I was like, God, I don't know anything about this guy.
Yeah,
the books were a bit different. Let's
So
see.
yeah, you read so many books, but you're still like, these are still not mentioned in the books. Any of these?
They're mentioned, but he just changes so much from book to book. Like one book will be Graham McNeil writing him, and he'll execute his personal death shroud because he needs them for a ritual. And Graham McNeil writes him like a mean man, so he's like, fuck my death shroud, I don't even care. Like 10 books later, he's getting written by Chris Wright, and he's remembering killing the death shroud and like shedding tears, crying about it from one book to the next. So to talk about Mortarion, it's like, so what do you feel bad about doing that to his death shroud? And it's like, I guess sometimes, depending on the day of the week.
He's bipolar.
Yeah.
And he's off his meds ever since he turned traitor.
He's hitting the galaxy gas through his little suit that goes straight to his face.
Nurgle is just against all meds, even antidepressants. He's like, you made your choice. You're one of us. No pills.
All right, I've got one more point to make before I move to the Great Scouring, just because I wanted to add a character that really never gets brought up in the Death Guard books. Mortarion's personal equerry is a human that was part of the Death Guard back when he was on Barbarus. This guy, Kaifa Morag. So he gets infected, just like everyone else, as the Death Guard are landing on Terra.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's my boy.
That was an attempt at trying to spell that, and that went terribly wrong. Apologies.
I saw children's books.
Yep, no, that is not the Death Guard.
Yeah.
Unless perhaps that's what upset Mortarion.
It's very likely.
Oh, that looks great. I love the logo on his shoulder. But he's hanging out on the Lionsgate spaceport after he was given control to Mortarion. He does not like being a Plague Marine. He loves the Death Guard. He loves Mortarion, but Nurgle's disease he could take or leave. He's hanging out with Typhus. This is when Nurglings start to show up in the Legion. They kind of just manifest when the Death Guard get together. So they start referring to him as little lords. They're cooing in their arms like babies and just capering around. But after Mortarion gets banished by Jagadite Khan, Typhus assumes control of the Death Guard. And he takes the remainder of them to the Astropathic Choir. Because some Dark Angels do make it to Terra, and they're trying to light the Astronomicon. Is it Astronomicon? They're trying to light the choir so that Gilliman and the Ultras can make it to Terra. And Typhon fails in stopping them. And then, unfortunately, a demon shows up after Mortarion gets taken for a walk and tells Morag to his face that it was Mortarion who made the choice to have the Legion fall to chaos. He's like, I didn't do this to anyone. Your dad chose this for you. And that's the end of his character. It's an interesting setup, but he hasn't popped up again. So I'm hoping he's going to show up in the Scouring books.
Mm. Find out what happened to him.
Next time on the Great Scouring.
That's definitely if Disney gets hold of it.
They're going to have Kaifa do the little like Disney logo wand. You're watching the 14th.
Just Rogel Dawn in the tallest tower.
Rogel Dorn, let down your mustache.
Hang on, but the book I read, he didn't have one.
Well, you're reading the wrong books. All the books I read, he had a mustache. He was very cute. Rubs it all the time. The Siege of Terra ended in defeat for the Death Guard and the traitor cause. During the fighting, Mortarion was overcome by Jagatai Khan and banished to the warp, returning to the Plague Planet while his legion continued to battle without him. Following Horus's death, the Death Guard withdrew from Terra in disciplined formations, fighting a relentless rearguard action as the traitor host retreated into the Eye of Terror. There they were reunited with their Primarch upon the Plague Planet, a demon world Mortarion claimed as his domain and from which he would wage eternal war against the Imperium. Some of the Legion embraced Nurgle's gifts as a mark of ascension, while others, like Kaifa Morag, endured their corruption with bitter resentment. Whatever their outlook, the Death Guard became the Plague God's eternal servants, spreading decay and pestilence across the galaxy in his name.
Okay, appearance. The Chaos Space Marines of the Death Guard often wear the antique Mark III iron pattern of power armor, as it was particularly useful in providing enhanced protection in the toxic environments that the 14th Legion preferred to fight in. And also, like we said, they have the purity sails made out of toilet paper.
I really want to see someone model like using actual toilet paper purity seals. So rather than getting sort of like lighter as you get towards the bottom, it's the other way round.
Big brown stain on top instead of the wax holding it to the armor.
Yeah, give him my Mortarion so I could dispatch them.
With 3D printing, anything's possible. You could rather than the wax stamp, you could have a tiny little poop emoji.
With a smile. The proper one.
It's the smile as well. Would be fantastic. I'm just imagining someone doing a proxy Plague Marine army, and it's just a series of 3D printed poop emojis. And what is it? A 28mm base. So, moving on swiftly. Colors of the 14th Legion. Before Mortarion's arrival, the 14th Legion wore armor of off-white and dark putrid green, colors that reflected a force shaped by relentless campaigns and unwavering discipline. Following their reunion with their Primarch, the Legion abandoned its earlier heraldry in favor of a unified putrid green, a stark symbol of endurance, resilience, and Mortarion's unforgiving vision. The muted palette rejected ornamentation, embracing function over glory and permanence over spectacle. Every suit of armor served as a reminder that the Death Guard did not seek admiration, only the strength to outlast every foe. Just the color choice alone.
I was kind of joking about the white thing, but apparently off-white was a thing. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the colors, but they drop a couple times in the codex that after corruption, they don't all have to paint their armor anymore. There's a lot of examples of Death Guard getting together and their armor will start to like rot and mold. What's the word? Like fuzzy mold will start to grow on it, and they'll start to naturally match colors with each other, like in proximity with each other.
Oh, that's cute.
It's
Like,
bitch, I
touch.
told her I was wearing it today.
Brother, touch my mold. Feel how soft it is. Blessed by Nurgle.
Brother, I was going to wear the mold armor for this campaign. You'll have to
Let's
change.
Crust, brother. They never close the door. They all shit with the door wide open. Embrace the gifts. Jesus Christ.
Let it crust is crazy. They have a badge, but I muted myself before I said this after the Great Scouring, I think. After Mortarion made the Plague Planet, that's what made Typhus leave the Death Guard, and some of the Death Guard split off with him, just because he was disgusted with the sentimentality of his Primarch showing itself again. The 14th Legion first marched beneath the Dusk Raider's emblem, a black skull set against the darkened sun upon a crimson field. It reflected their practice of striking at nightfall when the enemy's resolve was weakest. Once committed, the Legion advanced without pause or mercy, yielding neither ground nor purpose. Following their reunion with Mortarion, the Legion abandoned its formal heraldry for the green skull and radiant sunburst of the Death Guard. I love that logo so much. I want to get that tattooed.
Make sure it gets infected.
Yeah. I'm going to let it crust.
Dirt on it. Yeah.
Oh, it's a tattoo. It's going to crust.
Yeah.
It's whether you then just like seal the crust in and just keep picking at it so it's permanent scab.
Let it strengthen me.
Pre-corruption. Before their corruption, the Death Guard presented a stark and imposing appearance. Their armor was heavy and functional, stripped of unnecessary ornamentation and finished in muted tones of off-white and putrid green that reflected Mortarion's disdain for excess. Battle damage, grime, and scars of countless campaigns were worn without concern, for the Legion valued resilience above all else. Each warrior appeared as an unyielding engine of attrition, advancing with grim purpose and an unwavering acceptance of hardship. This generally... there's more. But yeah, when I think about Space Marine, this type of stuff comes to mind, actually. Not the, shiny boys, but like they barely have any time to sleep and eat, so they basically are very battle-scarred. Post-corruption. After the fall to Nurgle, the Legion once disciplined form became a grotesque reflection of its former strength. Armor fused with bloated flesh, cracked ceramite split off to reveal diseased tissue, and rust spread across every plate without weakening the warriors beneath. Horns, tentacles, and swollen mutations emerged where once there has been disciplined uniformity. Yet each Death Guard remained as relentless as before. Their corruption did not diminish their endurance, it transformed them into living monuments of decay, carrying pestilence and ruin whenever they marched.
I love that idea that... Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, you go on, please.
I love that idea that it's rusted, but it doesn't matter. It might look weak, but...
It's just a cosmetic change. It doesn't weaken them.
He bought a new skin from the shop.
The idea that before you see them whilst they approach, you basically start getting sick and coughing up blood and getting pustules and shit, and you basically die without like shooting a single shot. That sounds really unfair and fucking annoying, actually.
Yeah, they're assholes too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're a guardsman. You're gonna die in the first 10 minutes of battle anyway, but at least you're gonna see what the last gun does before you fucking die. But now you're just shitting yourself into oblivion before they fucking arrive.
So my
Please.
first ever game of 40k was against Death Guard.
Yes.
So I've now come to realise that my friends clearly hated me because I was playing Guard into Death Guard, and yeah, you can imagine I did not have fun. And yet here I am, still playing all these years later. Yeah, you're not really going to get much sight of them, and I sort of imagine like this smog rolling in as the Death Guard arrive, you know.
Yeah, all about presentation, the aura of the Death Guard, literally and figuratively with their smell.
Yeah.
They've got a weird, I guess not duality, but they're kind of a mirror image of Tzeentch and the Thousand Sons, which I always really liked. You'd think Tzeentch, with all their flesh change and sorcery, would be the mutated Legion, and the Death Guard would be the stock standard uniform soulless bodies.
But then I suppose with Nurgle, you know, it's all about disease, and quite often within the real world, quite a clear symptom of disease is growths, mutations, you know, thinking of the likes of, you know, cancers and stuff like that. Even within plants, quite often the way you tell it's diseased is it grows differently. So I guess it's a throwback to that.
It's nice. I like it as a nice little I guess color wheel is not the point, but you know how a color wheel is like one color on the opposite will complement the other. It's almost like that with Nurgle and Tzeentch being opposites. To a certain extent, they're opposites, but they're still reflections of all the emotion and sentience in the warp. So all the chaos gods together kind of form a full wheel of the human emotion spectrum.
Yeah, taking that a step further, you look at Khorne and Slaanesh. One is about pure practicality of spilling blood, skulls for the Skull Throne, and one is XS. How can I do this in the fanciest way possible?
Not the same thing, but there's that interplay between them that kind of makes them complement each other.
Yeah. So, the beliefs of the Death Guard, apart from I am a plague, I am a plague, I am a plague, and a clear disbelief in deodorant. The Death Guard believed humanity could only be free through the destruction of every tyrant, despot, and horror that sought to enslave it. Freedom was not earned through hope or mercy, but through relentless war and the resolve to endure whatever burdens victory demanded. Every hardship was accepted, every sacrifice justified, if it secured mankind's future. Mortarion taught that endurance was the highest virtue, and the Legion embraced his creed without hesitation. Iron will, resilience, and unwavering determination defined every warrior, while weakness and dependency were met with quiet contempt. The Death Guard measured worth by the trials one could survive, believing only those who endured suffering without complaint possessed the strength to shape humanity's future. Again, we talk about duality. Every despot and tyrant? Mortarion? Do you want to have a look in the mirror? And the irony that it's all for humanity's sake.
That's something I was also mentioning at the very beginning. Even before he got corrupted and everything, I think he was tyrant-like. The whole philosophy of, if you fall behind, then you're not used to us. You should fucking die anyway. That's the definition of a tyrant. Where's the camaraderie? He doesn't fit the Nurgle. We're all, circle of life. We're all brothers and bullshit. Because he's supposed to be more, fraternity kind of god. He doesn't even fit that. He's like, just disciplined, cold tyrant bullshit.
Is that perhaps why Nurgle wanted him? Because if I can break even this guy,
I think with the break even this guy specifically makes really good sense, because At least on Barbarus, and very early on, so probably some years during the Great Crusade. He was pretty like true to his word about hating tyrants. They valued their strength specifically because of the ability it gave them to crush tyrants. But over time, throughout the Great Crusade, and especially at the start of the heresy, where's that line? There it is. The Death Guard measured worth by the trials one could survive, believing only those who endured suffering without complaint possessed the strength to shape humanity's future. They had a big 180 where they loved their strength for its protective value, and that started to morph into resenting everybody who wasn't strong enough to protect themselves.
Yeah.
These weak humans making more of a mess for me to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just to double nerd a second. It's Star Wars. Why are you angry? Angry leads to hatred. Hatred leads to suffering.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing. Oh, you're not feeling pain. You're absolutely fine. Well, you're now resenting those who are struggling. So rather than do a salamanders thing and help them out, no, you're going to resent them. That's then going to lead to hatred. Hatred then, elitism, and it all spirals.
Yeah. That planet ruined him. Cult of Personality. Mortarion's arrival transformed the 14th Legion, sharpening qualities that had long defined the Dusk Raiders while discarding those he deemed unnecessary. His uncompromising discipline, methodical command, and relentless pursuit of efficiency forged the Legion into a force of singular purpose. Among the warriors of Barbarus, loyalty to their Primarch became absolute, born from reverence for the liberator who had delivered them from tyranny. By the outbreak of the Horus Heresy, that devotion outweighed every other oath. The Death Guard followed Mortarion without hesitation, placing their faith in his judgment above the Emperor, their legions, or any cause beyond the grim certainty of their Primarch's will.
Yeah. Just the right thing to do when your leader is a tyrant, I suppose. Yeah, let's follow him to the very end. Yeah, very, very lovely.
Nothing will go wrong.
I wonder if it's actually deep-seated resentment to see, hang on, he's been bugging us to see if we'll break. I wonder if he will eventually. Let's keep following him to find out.
Let's just see how far this guy will push it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was guilty with it with senior NCOs. You've got the 48-year-old, color sergeant who looks overweight, but my God, he will outrun the youngest man in your squadron just through sheer hatred of everyone else.
That's funny.
Number 7. Mortarion reorganized the 14th Legion into 7 great companies, a number drawn from the traditions of Barbarus and invested with deep symbolic significance. In theory, each company would field 70,000 warriors, creating a legion of nearly 500,000 Astartes. Such strength was never realized. Endless attrition, relentless war, and the demands of the Great Crusade ensured Mortarion's vision remained an ideal rather than a reality. Yeah, this actually kind of answers some of our questions about recruitment. 500,000. In 40k, there's 1 million Astartes in total, right? And this is just one legion, 500,000. Yeah. And these are really hard to kill 500,000 as well. It's not just to, run out the mill Astartes. How the fuck do they get equipment, though?
And also, a squad will take a planet.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need 500,000 bodies?
I think it's the whole attrition thing. When you want to just besiege a settlement and just wait them out for just to, die on their own. You want to make sure that they really don't have the numbers to actually sally out and attack you. So if it's like, even if they have a little chance, they might take it. But I think it's kind of their kink at this point to like, yeah, I'm gonna sit here and they're gonna fucking die over there. So I think that's why they like their numbers to be, you know, puffed up like that. No pun intended. Yeah.
I think it would just be accounting for all the war bands within the Legion. I'll touch on this later because I have the structure mapped out, or GW's idea of a structure mapped out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my only guess. Warband numbers, extra people joining in.
Yeah. Just the idea of 500,000 Astartes under one man. It just
No.
who's not the big the big E. It's
Mhm.
just, yeah, that's pretty scary stuff.
Maybe it's also because they don't really, go toe to toe with a lot of enemies. They just wait them out, and they keep constantly recruiting. So it's just accumulating, basically.
Yeah, especially with
Like no loss, just recruitment. Yeah, I think Fishy got disconnected, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Or
That's
he's
all right.
really
I'm up
focused.
next. He's counting all the points on that death guard.
Yeah.
No, I feel like it would just be a big number to account for not just like the death guard, their personal warbands, but all the other chaos space marines that must be joining the death guard.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'd see, part of me thought like the cultists and all of the other sort of next to adjacents, but it is clearly Astartes that he wanted.
Mhm.
Not just, the renegade guard and stuff like that. Because if they've got 500,000 Astartes, what are the supporting units? How many guardsmen do these guys have in militia and, cultists?
A lot.
Yeah.
This was going back to your question earlier, Spaldrum, about how they get like equipment and stuff.
Mhm.
But the Plague Planet's got a bunch of like choking factories, beastmen and tribal settlements, like slave camps where they're recruiting beastmen for labor. They do use some native population of the Plague Planet for Plague Marines, but I don't know what that actually means. If someone's born
know.
on the Plague Planet, are they human? If they're born in the warp, it's kind of weird.
When I think about it, since their numbers are so vast, and I mean, it's fucking Nurgle. They're not really the best when it comes to industry, I would say. Like,
Yeah.
everything is rotting and falling apart. How the fuck do you build a factory? So yeah, when I think about it, it's like, yeah, how the fuck do you actually keep these guys, maintained? Do they even have bullets? Do they even have fucking water shells? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what all the slaves are for.
Maybe that's why they're all about attrition. Maybe they don't have a single shot left, and they're like, yeah, just go there and wait.
They're actually talking about... You go.
Go on.
They're actually talking about slave attrition. It took them 3 generations of slaves to get 1 bolt shell. They walked into the factory and the smell was just knocking them down in a line.
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay, we have one. Oh, fuck, it's turned into dust already. Before we send it to the front line, yeah.
And I suppose one lift off of the logistics is they're not repairing things. They can focus on building new stuff all the time.
Yeah, you're right. Their stuff probably would just like grow, I guess.
Yeah. So speaking of battle damage, little segue there. The Death Guard placed little value on rank insignia beyond battlefield necessity, and honors held no meaning beyond the duty fulfilled. Instead, they regarded the scars upon their armor as the only decoration worthy of respect. Blade strikes, bullet impacts, and the stains of toxic battlefields were left untouched, provided the plate remained functional. Each mark stood as silent proof of endurance, reinforcing the Legion's grim reputation as warriors who accepted hardship without pride, complaint, or hesitation. So perhaps they are doing a bit of repair. If it's, it mentions there, It's provided the plate remain functional.
Hmm.
But at which point does it not become functional?
There's also the Nurgle stuff is mostly very fleshy, like their machines and stuff. They have demon, like, what the fuck was it called? Basically, like machine demon, keeping things together, like almost like a computer virus. They have shit like that. So maybe, yeah, maybe they just don't need to even get people. Maybe factories can work on their own because of the demons and shit.
It's also a weird one where do you draw the distinction between a Plague Marine and his armor after a certain point?
Yeah.
Yeah. They mostly have a little, second mouth in the belly and whatnot.
Yeah, you're not removing that to repair it.
Yeah, like it's said in a couple parts that it's like their body is fused with the armor now. So yeah, maybe they don't even need the armor anymore. It's just decor at this point, like a shell.
Yeah.
Maybe they could just replace full arms. Like if the arm plate's damaged, lop it off. Either replace it or let a tentacle grow out of the stump.
Yeah, cut it off, let it crust once again. let the tentacle do its thing.
Let it crust, brother. I almost read that wrong because of that. The cups, not the crust. Among the few honors recognized within the Death Guard was the rare privilege of sharing a poisoned draught, I think, with Mortarion. Okay. Chosen only after battle, the ritual was not a celebration of glory, but a trial of endurance, affirming the strength expected of every warrior in the 14th Legion. From their earliest days as neophytes, Death Guard recruits hardened themselves through relentless exposure to toxins, corrosive chemicals, virulent diseases, and deadly venoms. Suffering was accepted without complaint, each ordeal strengthening body and will alike. By the time they earned their battle plate, resistance to poison had become a defining measure of their worth. The cups prepared by Mortarion contained lethal concoctions capable of killing lesser beings outright. Even the enhanced senses of an Astartes recoiled from the brew, yet refusal was unthinkable. To drink, endure, and survive was to prove oneself worthy before the Primarch. Mortarion understood that even a legion indifferent to metals required recognition. The cups were his chosen honor, a quiet acknowledgement that endurance, not acclaim, defined the worth of a Death Guard. Super
Give me your
cool
strongest
ritual.
potion seller.
I love that he does that. He does it with his boys after a mission. I tried to find the timeline for this. I can't really. I'm assuming it's after the Legion gets the Lionsgate spaceport, but probably before the White Scars show up.
Holy shit, those cups look really nice, by the way. The one in the middle.
Ooh, I drink out of that middle cup.
Yeah. The back of it has that mouth. Disgusting. But in an
That's so sick. We got some cups like that. My girl gets them from the Ren Fair.
I will just say, just so you're all aware, there is a Nurgle flavored scented candle.
I know. My partner showed me yesterday. I never thought about it. It was being sold on Facebook apparently. Pestilence smell, right?
I will say it actually smells quite good. I went to Warhammer World earlier this year.
You tried it.
I did. I had to sniff Nurgle. I had to.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And it's kind of vanilla-y. Fun fact for you.
That's a bit disappointing, though. I
wouldn't have guessed that.
I thought it would be like a fart bomb or something.
I mean, GW have created it, therefore it is now canon.
Canon. You're right.
Nurgle smells like vanilla. So you know, your basic white woman ordering a vanilla chai latte is actually a servant to Nurgle. You heard it here first.
It's the pus from the stuff.
All of a sudden, I want to embrace Nurgle more.
Yeah. I wonder what the Slaanesh smells like.
Next time I go to a Games Workshop or Warhammer World, I will do a full report
Please do. Yeah.
And I will video it. And just to plug the Discord again, I will post the videos on the Discord of me sniffing candles.
You
Is
open
it really-
each one, it's not even a candle, it's just something else. It's just some random ass trick.
Yeah, an eye opens in the wax to look at you.
Yeah, just Fish's weekly sniff, and it's just me smelling different things.
When Mortarion... So before the White Scar showed up, Garrow shows up to 1v1 Mortarion. And before they have their fight, he offers them the poison drops one more time. And it's a very cool moment for him, because it's such an honor after battle. But Garrow's just so raw, so real, that he just offers them the draught on site as a challenger. Like, we can be cool again. Do you want to do this with me?
Okay, moving on to the Gene Seed. The Death Guard bore the gaunt of futures and hollow gaze of Mortarion, their austere appearance reflecting lives shaped by hardship rather than comfort. The Legion's original Terran recruits possessed a quiet resilience, inherited from the hardy warriors of old Albia, while those drawn from Barbarus shared the Primarch's pale complexion and lean, weathered form. United by the Legion's gene seed, both bloodlines displayed extraordinary resilience to disease and poison. Forging warriors whose strength was measured not by appearance, but by their ability to endure what would destroy all others.
Like father, like sons.
No.
I when I picture Death Guard, though, I don't think lean and gaunt and like sunken eyes.
Yeah,
I think bloated.
Exactly. But is this like before the thing?
Yeah.
Like, I think so. The pale, lean weather. It kind of sounds more like that's the default from the gene seed. But now they're chunky, pus-filled boys.
Yeah. Or it could be like the two ends of Victorian Britain. You've got little Timmy from A Christmas Carol starving on the streets, all gaunt and hollow.
Yeah.
And then you've got the fat cat aristocracy with, I don't know, gout that are all swollen and bloated. It could be the two ends of that disease spectrum almost. So recruitment, we were asking it earlier. We've got an entire section on it. Mortarion changed the name of the Legion to the Death Guard after the name of the military force he had raised on his homeworld of Barbarus to overthrow the rule of that feudal world's necromantic warlords. He began to enlarge the Legion's ranks with men taken from the population of Barbarus. Upon first seeing them, he told them, "You are my unbroken blades. You are the Death Guard." The Legion's name was then changed in accordance with this decree. The Death Guard endured staggering losses throughout the Great Crusade, their relentless methods demanding a terrible price, despite the Legion's unmatched resilience. Only a handful of Legions rivaled their willingness to spend lives in pursuit of victory. Barbarus became the Legion's lifeblood, its people supplying an unending stream of recruits to replenish the fallen. Mortarion accepted warriors from elsewhere only when necessity outweighed conviction, determined to preserve the Legion's fighting strength. Fortunately, the hardy people of Barbarus proved exceptionally suited to the transformation into Astartes, ensuring the Death Guard could continue their unforgiving wars without respite. So they are picking up from other planets, but only when they need to. And it's almost the hypocrisy and irony that the Death Guard and Mortarion become reliant upon the population of Barbarus, when one of the reasons why he led that uprising was because the dead population of Barbarus were then being used as an army to subjugate the population of Barbarus. So when the Death Guard return to Barbarus and destroy it, they're going round in a historical loop. that the people of Barbarus have
Yeah.
supplied bodies to destroy themselves, willingly or not.
I like that a lot. It's also so funny to me to imagine. They mentioned in, I think, I'll have to double check. It was either the Liber Hereticus or Wiki. He put that saying, "You're my unbroken blades, you're my death guard." I was reading earlier today that he put that over the wall or over a door in his ship. So I was just imagining him as like an HR manager putting up the live, laugh, love sign like outside of his little office.
There's a little fucked up kitty sticker under it to get more attention.
Yeah, the one he's got a just hang in there poster.
Yeah, the Nurgling hanging off a branch.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow, Mortarion HR, who'd have thought it?
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that's more of a the Nurgle love thingy that I was imagining. Yeah,
He loves his boys. They do shirtless Fridays. Mortarion was true to his oath. When he recovered, he bent his knee to the stranger and swore himself and the Death Guard to his service. Only then did the Emperor of Man reveal himself as the young Primarch's true father, and the destiny such service would bring. Command of the 14th Legion of the Legiones Astartes, the Space Marines. After Mortarion departed Barbarus to take command of the Death Guard within the Great Crusade, the world remained much as it had always been. A poisoned sphere of choking mists, decaying fortresses, and broken mountain strongholds. The overthrow of its tyrants had not transformed it into a realm of prosperity, but into one of quiet, brutal stagnation. Barbarus became a recruitment world rather than a conquered prize, its surviving population left to endure the same toxic skies and harsh terrain that had shaped Mortarion himself. There was no effort to cleanse its atmosphere or soften its conditions, for the world's suffering was no longer a burden to be escaped, but a resource to be drawn upon. In its unchanging decay, Barbarus continued to serve the Legion as a proving ground for endurance, where only the strongest could survive long enough to be taken into the Death Guard's ranks.
It's almost as if this planet was actually better before Mortarion liberated and then retook the whole thing, basically, yeah. I wonder if the people think so too. They're like, yeah, fucking Mortarion, thank you. Yeah.
Kind of makes you wonder if he ever really had a shot of being better.
I don't know.
Because Barbarus definitely did some work on him, but he didn't improve Barbarus afterwards. Then he goes to his first compliance and burns the planet to the ground to save everybody.
I don't know. He just seems really petty to me, like I said. The whole, oh no, you killed this, and then he's like, yeah, fuck tyrants, becomes a tyrant, and I don't know. It could be one of the, like, he could at least try to ask his legion, okay, we're stuck in the warp. Let's hold a vote. I don't want to, decide your fate. Or like at least say, okay, the ones that want to just not join Nurgle, just, go to a corner, shoot yourselves. You don't have to. Like, I'm giving you a choice. But no, it's like, nah, we're all going to the stinky side, so let's fucking go. And yeah, some of them are happy, some of them are like enduring the plague and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really like Mortarion that much. I think he's like kind of like Perturabo or Lorgar even, kind of,
Honestly, I'd say he's worse.
Yeah,
Perturabo's petty, but Mortarion is petty and just so fucking
incompetent,
bitter. Yeah. His decision making gets hijacked by how malicious and bitter he is all the time.
Yeah.
At least with Perturabo, you can sort of feel a bit of, yeah, okay, fair enough. He didn't get that recognition.
I understand
a slight bit of justification. Yeah. Whereas Mortarion, it's just not there.
Yeah.
There's just a big lack of logic.
I mean, Perturabo just wanted the build too, but Like, what's your reason, Mortarion? Come on.
My dad killed me, and I'm still really upset about it.
Perturbo is just the Emperor fatigue. He's like, they always give me the shittiest jobs, and then he just quits. Doesn't necessarily join Chaos as well. He's just doing his own thing now. You know, chill guy. Yeah, I like to do it. Other than the Demon Chalaba stuff, he's a pretty decent guy, I would say.
Do you want your really shitty coworker that's going to make a mess? Or do you want your really mean, competent coworker that's going to leave halfway through the project when he gets mad with everyone?
That's the thing. They're both mean anyway. Yeah, Perturabo a little bit more, you know. At least he didn't go all the way and join Chaos, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Should I go with the combat doctrine?
Is that you, or am I up next with Homeworld?
Yeah, combat doctrine. It's me.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's see if they have artillery. As the Dusk Raiders, the 14th Legion earned its name through relentless assaults launched at nightfall. Their unpainted slate grey armor, marked by crimson gauntlets and shoulder plates, symbolized the Emperor's unyielding hand descending upon those who resisted. Many foes surrendered rather than face an enemy that advanced without fear beneath the cover of darkness. Mortarion reshaped the Legion into a force defined by endurance above all else. Elaborate maneuvers and displays of battlefield brilliance held little value. Victory belonged to those who absorbed every blow, exhausted the enemy's resolve, and advanced when resistance had finally broken. Every weapon, formation, and warrior served this singular purpose with disciplined efficiency. I also would like to add that I think Dusk Raiders were also better off before Mortarion came. Like, their strategy seems to be working better than... yeah, whatever. The Death Guard prepared for every battlefield, yet accepted that no plan survived unchanged. Where strategy failed, resilience prevailed. Mortarion expected his sons to endure hostile climates, poisonous worlds, shattered terrain, and impossible odds without hesitation or complaint. Although he recognized the value of armor and artillery mentioned, the disciplined infantryman remained the foundation of the Legion. Every Space Marine was trained to fight across varied environments, adapting through determination rather than innovation. Few legions matched the Death Guard's willingness to endure losses in pursuit of victory. They accepted casualties as they were unavoidable costs of war, believing perseverance would outlast any enemy. This reputation made them among the most feared forces of the Great Crusade, for they could not be discouraged by any hardship or broken through attrition. Among their most formidable battlefield doctrines, the Reaping, a heavily reinforced assault formation designed for fortified positions, ruined cities, and broken landscapes. Advancing with deliberate precision, it crushed all resistance beneath an unrelenting tide of infantry and armor, slow, methodical, and unstoppable. It embodied the Death Guard's belief that victory belonged not to the shifts, but to those who refused to yield. That's beautiful, honestly. Yeah, okay, I changed my mind. Yeah, Mortarion kind of made them a little bit more interesting, I guess. But, yeah.
But then equally in that it's okay, my tactics might not be great, but the guys on the ground saved me.
Mm-hmm.
It's their resilience that won it, not my tactical awareness or thinking. That's what kind of speaks there. Is, there's sort of his whole background coming through Barbarus. He sort of led and he helped them, taught them how to fight, and allowed them to rise up and conquer. And then now he's sort of lost that touch. It's the way I'm reading it, at least. Yeah, armor and artillery is great, but let's just throw bodies at it. Let's create this culture where if they don't take it, then they're weak, they're lesser. So they're going to want to be better. So they're going to want to stand up to that pain. So we don't have to worry about artillery or tanks. We don't have to think about what we're doing.
I think I'd rather just have an Imperial fist, launch an artillery shell, and blow me up than have to see these guys walk down my fortress.
Just slowly moving forward.
Oh, it's so awful.
And it's kind of reminiscent of the thin red line, the Napoleonic redcoats, just slowly marching towards the fort.
Yeah.
You know it's coming. And you can see it a way off. You know it's coming. Yeah. And like even the name of the form of the doctrine, the reaping.
Oh, dreadful. Everyone's just going to be sitting in their foxholes, shaking their knees.
Yeah. And just imagine that comes across the Voxnet or something. You know, initiate the reaping. And you're some poor guardsman that hears that. Just, what are you thinking?
Yeah, the chemical smoke roiling in under their feet over the trenches.
Yeah. And for me, it's a great matching of imagery, the reaping and the scythe of Mortarion.
Yeah.
You know, it's very much that reaping what you sow sort of thing.
It's another little moment that kind of illustrates a bit, I hate to say the word again, but how sentimental Mortarion is.
Yeah. He's a big softie, really.
You just have to get to know him.
You just have to go and take a draft with him from the cups, and then your besties. I bet deep down he secretly when they have a sip, is he actually mutters under his breath, just loud enough for the person to hear, or the Marine to hear, but not loud enough for anyone else. BFFs for life.
Typhus chooses them. Modelo time.
So now we've gone from that light-hearted BFFs for life. Fearful weapons. Under Mortarion, the Death Guard became synonymous with alchemical and radiological warfare, earning a grim reputation among the Legionis Astartes. Poison gas, rad shells, and phosphex were weapons to be employed without hesitation when duty demanded, never restrained by sentiment or pride. Their extraordinary resistance to toxins allowed the Legion to wage war where few others could endure, advancing through irradiated wasteland and poisoned battlefields without faltering. In lands already condemned beyond recovery, the Death Guard brought victory through methods as unforgiving as the worlds upon which they fought. Yeah, it just summarizes them. I'm not going to think about the fact I'm committing a war crime right now. It's an end to a means.
I wasted so much time doing notes for this episode because I read alchem weapons. I was like, what the fuck? Alchem? I've never heard of that before. So I was scouring, like, what is an alchem? Just to find out, alchem is chemical weapons. That's it.
Yeah. 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 No, it just, and the fact they go from like the chemical weapons, the radiological weapons, to the biological weapons. It's quite interesting because the defenses are very similar to fight against them. So going back to military days, we called it CBRN training, so chemical, biological, radioactive, nuclear warfare training. Yeah. So they're all grouped together because you wear the same kit. It doesn't matter what you're facing. You chuck on a boil in the bag suit and your respirator, and you hope that you're okay. But so the fact they've changed that rolling mist, that chemical mist going forward in front of them, that very First World War, again, we're going back to that stomping forward across the trenches. Let the gas roll in first, and then we just walk. It's sort of going back to that imagery again, which hits hard.
They're like the
Especially when
worst to
it's
fight.
started.
Yeah. This or Night Lords. I'm trying to figure out which one I'd rather deal with.
I'd deal with Night Lords.
I think so too.
Happily deal with Night Lords.
The Night Lords that then chemically torture you. Let's see. Martial traditions. The martial traditions of the Death Guard were founded upon hardship, endurance, and the rejection of comfort. From the earliest days as recruits, aspirants were subjected to poisonous atmospheres, virulent toxins, disease, and the harshest environments imaginable, not merely to strengthen their bodies, but to prove their worth. Within the Legion, rank granted no exemption from suffering. Mortarion expected officers and commanders to endure every burden borne by the warriors they led, believing authority was earned through resilience, discipline, and example rather than privilege. I like that. That's pretty cool. These traditions shaped every aspect of the Death Guard's approach to war. The individual legionary remained on the foundation of the Legion. The individual legionary remained the foundation of the Legion, mastering infantry warfare above all else while advancing through any battlefield without complaint or hesitation. Weapons and armor were valued only for their reliability, stripped of needless ornamentation and maintained solely for war. Casualties were accepted as an inevitable price of victory, never to be celebrated but never feared. For the Death Guard believed that no enemy could overcome those who refused to yield, regardless of the cost.
It sucks to be one of these guys, I guess. Rejection of comfort.
No kidding. You're walking up to the front lines. You're looking over at the space wolves hanging out in bunkers and riding motorcycles around.
Yeah, I was thinking just that. Having hunts and drinking and whatnot. And you're just
They
like
don't
the
even get-
Squidward meme, like Patrick as SpongeBob is playing outside and Squidward is just watching.
Looking out the window at them.
Yeah, he's
They,
like, oh,
they
fuck's
don't
sake.
even get a foot rub beforehand.
Yeah.
But they don't get the drought, and we do, boys.
Good point. Good point.
It's the good shit. Delicious. Organization. Before and after their unification under Mortarion, the Death Guard were defined by endurance, discipline, and infantry supremacy. Every warrior was equipped to operate independently for extended periods, yet remain fully effective within a larger formation. Self-sufficiency and reliability were the foundation of their organization, ensuring the Legion could function under the most hostile conditions without external support. Also, I would like to add that I'm getting a lot of Krieg vibes when I read more about these guys. The suicidal, shitty environment, no comfort.
Yeah, I think it's just because they lend themselves so well to like the visual idea of a siege with how they grind through everything.
Yeah.
Gives me Iron Warrior vibes too.
Yeah.
Mortarion refined the structure into a doctrine of absolute adaptability. Fixed roles were reduced in importance, with legionnaires trained to shift between tactical functions as required by the battlefield. While specialist units remained, the common warriors was expected to serve as a universal infantry asset, capable of sustained combat in any environment. The Legion's armament reflected this philosophy. Bolters formed the standard weapon, supported by Melta and Flamer systems where heavier destruction was required. Close combat weapons were issued universally, prioritizing function and durability over ornamentation. Armor and equipment were maintained for efficiency rather than appearance, reinforcing the Legion's utilitarian identity. Although supported by Terminators, Dreadnoughts, and Siege armor, These elements existed to reinforce the infantry core rather than replace it. The Death Guard fought as a unified force rather than dispersed warbands, concentrating their strength into a single, overwhelming formations designed for attritional victory through persistence and controlled advance.
I suppose it's that control. It's a controlled advance. It's not like, the World Eaters just going for it, just charging headlong, or the Space Wolves, or moving on slightly, Sigismund and the Templars. It's that control of one foot in front of the other. Just slow advance, keep pace, keep control. Yeah. And it's that inevitability again. It reinforces that.
Yeah, like Noose Titan.
Go for it, boy.
Yeah, that's all. Like a noose tightening around the neck, basically. Like I said, I feel like they have a king for it. Like the whole slow and steady wins the race.
It really cements their identity for the Pale King to be leading his Death Shroud with the, Death Scythe formation, to be slowly marching at you like a slow, inescapable wall of death.
And it kind of mirrors death itself. Death is inevitable. It is life is a slow creep towards death. We can, don't get me wrong, we can have a few comforts in between. We'll allow ourselves that. But the Death Guard are much more matter of fact. Just it's going to happen. So the hierarchy of the Death Guard. When Mortarion took command of the 14th Legion, he reshaped it into a single instrument of his will. The Death Guard ceased to function as a collection of companies and became, in practice and doctrine, one unified body, directed by a singular purpose, endurance in war and the destruction of all opposition through inevitability. The Legion was reorganized into 7 great companies, each far larger than a standard Astartes formation of the Great Crusade. Within this structure, obedience was absolute. Command flowed without interruption from Primarch to commander, from commander to captain, and from captain to sergeant, until every legionary acted as an extension of a greater will. The chain of command was not merely enforced, but lived like blood through the legion's structure. Formal hierarchy beyond this system was minimal. Aside from highly specialist roles, each warrior understood his place without reliance on heraldry or ornament. Identity was defined by function, and function by necessity. Certain commands carried additional distinction. While many legions named a first captain to lead their foremost company, the Death Guard also granted formal recognition to the commanders of the 2nd and 7th Great Companies, bearing titles such as Commander and Battle Captain. These distinctions carried no practical superiority, only acknowledgement of duty within the same unbroken structure. The Legion showed little internal division. Rivalry was rare, and dissent rarer still. When officers fell in battle, their replacements assumed command without hesitation or ceremony. This continuity ensured the Death Guard fought on without disruption, even under catastrophic losses, reinforcing their reputation as a legion that endured where others broke. Now, just me thinking out loud, this suggests that, similar to modern military parlance, you're trained as, say, a sergeant to do the captain's job. Because if the captain dies, you're going to have to step up. And you're not going to make a song and dance out of it. You're just going to step up and do it. It's a really cool thought of the rank being someone has to do it. So you're designated as the person to do it. When you die, this other guy's going to just get on and do it. And it kind of suggests that anyone within the Legion can do it.
This almost feels like most chapters feel more feudal or medieval in terms of like structure. It's much more honor and glory and knighthood and that sort of shit. But yeah, this legion feels much more like modern military. Like no ceremonies, no anything. Like the armor is just functional as camouflage. You're not trying to make it look fancy. It doesn't matter if it looks like shit or green. Yeah.
It's sorry, I'm trying to figure out where to even start with this. I just wanted to drop this before we move past hierarchy. Their hierarchy is really weird. Let me show you this insane rambling I was trying to map out. Like, it's a disaster. So it's Mortarion and his command boys on top. So it'd be Mortarion. He has a named plague surgeon he hangs out with, Nauseous Rotbone. Who
the fuck are naming these people?
And that's all we know about him.
No juice.
So Mortarion's personal doctor can take command, and that's where all their hulks are. But from there they split the company to 7 plague companies. Each of those gets split into 7 sepsis cohorts. Each cohort gets split into 2 maledictums, which I'm going to go over real quick. And then the maledictums get split into colonies. So think of the company as a 30k Legion company, where it wouldn't be almost like a full chapter to a loyalist space marine following the codex. The really tricky part is the maledictums, because what they are changes in all 3 codexes the Death Guard have.
Nice.
Originally, they were war bands. They were kind of just a catch-all term for this sepsis cohort, and whoever's around them are defined as being one war band. But they did something really cool at 10th that illustrates, again, how sentimental and emotional Mortarion is with all of his conventions. Because as of 10th edition, each sepsis cohort is split into 2 halves, not as war bands, but now the maledictums are just like companies, essentially. Both halves are led by a separate Death Guard champion. Kind of what you were saying with Lieutenant and Captain, being able to replace your higher up when they go missing.
Yeah.
But it also kind of mirrors the way the Death Guard are set up around Mortarion and Typhus splitting loyalties.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 2 sides of the same coin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Took an hour to get that. Because they word it so weird in the codexes. Yeah. I was just going through, what is that word? Let's see. Special units. Specialist Marines of the 14th Legion served where standard warfare failed, each trained for a singular function within the Legion's wider machine of attrition. Whether wielding forbidden munitions, siege equipment, or chemical agents, they operated without hesitation, accepting the cost of their role as part of duty itself. Within the Death Guard, specialization was not distinction, but burden, carried in silence until death claimed its due.
Of course, they could have some special stuff.
Death Shrouds were an elite cadre drone. How do you pronounce that word even? Cadre drone from the 14th Legion, selected personally by Mortarion to serve as his silent bodyguards during the Great Crusade. Chosen from the ranks of the Death Guard for exceptional endurance and proven valor, each warrior abandoned his former identity upon induction. Their deaths were recorded to conceal their existence, and their faces were never seen, always hidden behind sealed helms and enclosed masks. Only Mortarion knew their true names, even in death. Clad in master-crafted Terminator armor, the Death Shroud carried the heavy sight known as the Man Reaper. mirroring their Primarch's own weapon. Their duty was absolute, never to stray beyond measured distance of Mortarion, forming an unbroken guard of 2 or more at all times. With others unseen in reserve, they stood motionless when idle, silent and unmoving, like statues carved from iron and purpose. In battle, they advanced without hesitation or deviation. No enemy, regardless of number or strength, altered their course. They moved with relentless certainty toward assigned targets, functioning with inevitability of an execution rather than the urgency of combat. Pretty cool fucking guys, but the weapon name threw me up a little bit.
She's a man reaper.
If I ever become a male stripper, that will be my without a doubt. I will use that as my stage name. They look badass, the Death Shrouds.
They're so cool.
Also, if you're a Patreon supporter, you can see the beautiful images of the Death Shroud. Yeah, and they're
not of me being a male stripper. We're looking at that.
You'll have to check for yourself. You don't know. It's a surprise. It's one of those. Yeah,
but
that's a beautiful man reaper.
Mastercrafted Terminator art.
They're so funny because they stand 7 paces to Mortarion at all times, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool, but I always just picture them sprinting to keep up with a Primarch.
I mean, yeah, the guy can fly.
Yeah, jumping up and down.
I wonder if they ever get sick and tired of the whole the number 7 obsession. I'm like what if it's 8 meters instead of 7? Like, what difference does it make? And Mortarion is like, no, it has to be 7.
I just
realized, tired of 7, you can get 3.
Do they all drink Jack Daniels?
I don't think they would.
Is that what's in the cups? Old number 7.
No. It has to be something fermented, not distilled, because bacteria. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's got to be something like champagne, like so filthy, like they pop it basically, the frothy, disgusting. Yeah,
but unless they distill the pus from all the.
Oh,
that is a spectacular idea. Hats off to you, friend.
If there's any cocktail makers out there, we need to make a cocktail for Nurgle and call it the Death Guard or the Death Shroud. There we go. I'm gonna try and create a cocktail called the Death Shroud.
Having a 40k themed bar or restaurant or anything would be so cool, but you will probably go bankrupt because there's not enough fans over the world, I would say.
In the UK, you'd be fine, considering how much we all spend on plastic toys.
Yeah,
and books
true.
And paint. I think you could charge a stupid amount for.
Oh no, he's gone. Fuck.
I always imagine the Death Guard as like the Stoner Legion.
No comfort.
Oh, you're right. No comfort.
They put little pebbles and rocks in their shoes, so it's more uncomfortable to walk in.
No, they've got the tactical poop boot. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
There's a Plague Marine whose kit has like a mechanical intestine from his waist down to the bottom of his boot. So it looks like it's just siphoning diarrhea straight into the bottom of his boots. Like, what would be the point of that?
Is it an actual model?
Yeah, it's just like a little strange detail that doesn't seem like it was thought out. So it's like, all right, we got poop boots.
Beautiful.
No, I feel like the designer knew exactly what they were doing and thought they'd add it in just to see if they'll get it past the quality control.
It's canon. That's how they maglock their boots. They just add that fluid weight down to their
Jesus
shoes.
Christ.
They save the extra sticky.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Moving on swiftly. Grave Wardens. The Grave Wardens were Terminator Carders of the 14th Legion, first associated with the warband of Callus Typhon aboard the Terminus Est. Over time, the designation came to define all Death Guard Terminators equipped for alchemical warfare. Unlike other legions, the Death Guard embraced toxic and corrosive weapons as standard doctrine, deploying phosphex, Culgene gas, and Vasgatox without hesitation. The modified tactical dreadnought allowed armor allowed sustained exposure and delivery of these agents at close range. Wherever the Grave Wardens advanced, they brought a slow, lingering death that consumed all resistance without distinction or mercy. So these Terminators are in modified dreadnought armor.
Mhm.
That's badass.
Culgene gas. That's crazy. That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
What does that do even?
I'm picturing it like unraveling your DNA, like culling genes.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the end
yeah.
results this time. Do you just turn into a blob and vanish?
Or sludge on the floor.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more curious about Vascotox, whatever the fuck that is. It sounds like an actual medicine.
It sounds like something that middle class women would inject into themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes the cheeks pop.
Yeah, you know it's Vasgatox because your lips start swelling.
Beautiful.
But they
Forgot
look cool. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Side effects, it might also make your eyes pop as well.
Forgot to mention this earlier, but this is going to apply to the destroyer squads too. They were not liked, the Death Guard, for all the chemical weapons they were using, which has been making me wonder this episode about the Dark Angel's reputation, because I feel like the only other legion that would be pulling these crazy chemical warfare stunts would be the Dark Angels with all their secret armories they've got. Destroyer squads of the 14th Legion were sanctioned carriers of prescribed weapons employed where resistance could not be broken by conventional force. Armed with rad systems, bioalchemical agents, and phosphex, they operated with cold necessity rather than honor. Though others shunned such methods, the Death Guard accepted them without hesitation. These weapons dissolved fortifications and life alike, leaving only ruin in their wake, a fitting tool for wars of attrition.
Beautiful. The Mortis Poisoner Squads. With the destroyer companies of the 14th Legion existed, the Mortis Poisoners, specialist cadres assigned to void ships and close quarters warfare. Heavily armed with chemical and biological munitions, even by Death Guard standards, they were deployed where conventional force proved insufficient, in hive corridors and shipboard engagements. Their weapons unmade defenders through toxic flame and lingering contamination. Their arsenal was effective, but unforgiving. Continuous exposure to their own munitions eroded even a sturdy physiology over time, ensuring that service with such squads carried an inevitable cost. Assignment to the Mortis Poisoners was often regarded as censure, a quiet condemnation for those who had failed to meet expectation. Yet some accepted the role without reluctance, advancing willingly into close range to deliver destruction with measured clinical resolve, indifferent to the diminishing span of their own survival. That's fucked up. If it's even affecting them, that's gotta be some big stank.
It's so mean.
Yeah.
There's a really cool.
Yeah. Enough to make Nurgle gag.
Yeah. There's a crazy short story where some Shattered Legion legionaries are hiding out in a fucked up ship in the swamp that's crashed and can't take off.
Just trying to find Shrek.
Let's see. I haven't heard of the Mortis Poisoner squads, but it is a destroyer squad. There's scenes of the Death Guard laughing, having a great time. His teeth are falling out, and he's just like so chuffed to be launching like radiation weapon and huge lobs over at the Stardies. Like, if this is fucking me up, I can't even imagine what it's doing to them. This is great.
I really like the model with the barrel behind their back, basically.
Yeah.
Like, you can see the sludge inside it.
Yeah, some of these 30k models are just incredible.
That's literally what they pull out of the toilets. They just throw it right back at the enemy.
Oh, well, now we know where the emptyings of porta-johns go.
Yeah. The latrine squad. Often with shovels.
I love the fact that some of the Astartes just accept this role.
Yeah.
Which is slightly weird because you're sending people that generally you're punishing to go and do this because they're just going to slowly melt by the sounds of it.
I would be
but
happy.
Yet some people go for it.
I would be happy because at least I'm gonna finally fucking die. that must be a relief for Death Guard.
Yeah,
you're just tired of all the crust flaking, and, the pebble in your shoe, the maggots crawling out of your ear all the fucking time, Nurglings running around. It must be really exhausting, and you're at it for like 5,000 years. You're like,
and once again, we're back to the tired dad at a 5-year-old's birthday.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just take some fucking rad weapons and go shoot at them. I don't care. Get lost.
There's
Yippee!
also the death and renewal thingy. The whole Nurgle cult believes so. They probably don't look at death by getting literally poisoned is like a bad thing. It's more like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come back as a beautiful butterfly, rot fly or whatever. So yeah, understandable. I would be happy to, like I said.
Yeah, go and melt whilst melting others. So after the plague breakout in the Heresy era, the Death Guard's organization begins to fracture and mutate, replacing rigid Great Company structure with war bands bound more by contagion than command. Traditional hierarchy erodes as infection spreads, and cohesion is maintained not through discipline, but through shared corruption and the unrelenting will of their Primarch.
All right, the Plague Marines, my boys. The Plague Marines of the Death Guard are legionaries who endure corruption rather than perish to it. Many are veterans already defined by extreme resilience, who survived the onset of Nurgle's rot within the warp when lesser warriors would simply die. Their bodies decay, but their functions as soldiers persist, stained by a fusion of gene seed endurance and relentless infection. A Plague Marine is no longer governed purely by discipline or physiology, but by a sustained degeneration that has become part of his own condition. As units, they form slow, cohesive warbands where command is muted but not absent, held together by a shared corruption and the unbroken instinct to advance. The Death Guard retains them because they remain effective. They do not stop, and in the logic of attrition warfare, that is enough.
The wargear. The wargear of the Death Guard is defined by function, endurance, and unyielding reliability, rather than ornamentation or excess. Power armor is maintained in heavy, utilitarian patterns designed to withstand prolonged exposure to toxic atmospheres, radiation, and sustained attritional warfare. Their standard armaments centers on bolter, supported by Melta and Flamer systems for destruction of hardened positions and massed resistance, with close combat besides carried by every legionary as tools of necessity rather than ceremony. Siege equipment, Terminator plate, and heavy infantry support weapons are integrated into the Legion structure, but always in service to the infantry corps. Each piece of wargear is chosen not for prestige or versatility, but for its capacity to function without failure under the most punishing conditions, reflecting a legion that values endurance over refinement and certainty over adaptation.
Yeah, says it all.
It makes really a lot of sense that they never use chainswords and shit because, those things break really easily.
Yeah, you
kind of
just want
imagine
something
them.
that works.
Yeah, I kind of imagine them to be using something blunt force actually, rather than sights. I kind of think that's
me
better
too.
Doesn't need maintenance. It just bonks. You're not gonna need to sharpen it, maintain it. It will always work until the handle breaks up, essentially.
So I've always taken the power size as a little bit of like sentimentality for Mortarion. I imagine it being cool, but I really struggle to conceptualize a world where a power scythe is like an optimal weapon. But
I mean, you do see scythes used in warfare through the ages, especially when looking at the peasantry. It's a farm tool.
Yeah.
So, Barbarus, I would hate to think what kind of crops they're growing in such a horrific world where you have a scythe. I can't imagine there'd be much wheat or barley, but it's a peasant weapon.
Yeah.
And it's obviously been finessed into a power weapon and brought onto this, it's evolved. You see it with bill hooks, especially the English sort of soldier during the late medieval period. A bill hook is a tool that we use in the UK, or used to use. You don't see many of them nowadays. But then they thought, right, how can I use this handheld tool as a weapon? Well, I'll stick it on a longer stick. And then the nobility saw this and thought, that works quite well. It reaches further than our swords. Let's give it a go. And they refined it, and then, bills and warhammers and all sorts came into the forefront of military technology. So you do see a bit of it, which is quite nice to see it reflected. But I love the sentimentality that you're saying.
Yeah.
Going back to Barbarus, his roots.
Yeah, and I like
so much better. Oh, you first, please.
Gotcha, brother. I really like to combine the two. But no, I kind of lost my train of thought on this one. I'll use spell.
So, talking about the power sides.
Yes.
A power scythe is a close combat weapon favored by the Death Guard, consisting of a long reinforced haft fitted with a mechanically or power energized blade, sharpened in a curved reaping form. The blade is typically driven by an internal power field that disrupts armor and augments cutting force, allowing the weapon to shear through ceramite, flesh, and fortified plating with controlled sweeping strikes rather than brute impact alone. Within the Death Guard, the power scythe became iconic because it reflects the doctrine of inevitable advance and attritional killing, slow, deliberate, and inescapable. Its reaper-like silhouette mirrors Mortarion's own preference for grim symbolism and relentless infantry warfare, making it both a practical tool of war and a visual embodiment of the Legion's identity. It's a bit of psychological warfare in there.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to articulate, but I got tripped up. I love the thematics of this noble peasant uprising leading to the Death Guard still using power size as tyrants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So-
Alchem.
So just
Go for
looking
it.
at the image, here of like the Man Reaper, for example, that I've managed to find, the blade is coated in filth. So not only are you going to get chopped up, you're then inevitably going to get infections.
Yeah,
Ugh.
there's like a canister behind
Yeah.
behind the blade. I can't read it from there, but like it also says some stuff. I think it's like constantly mixed with poison. I mean, with filth and plague or whatever from that container. It's like even the smallest cut fucks you up or something.
Yeah, or maybe like a cloud behind him as he swings the arc.
That sounds much cooler, actually. Yeah,
And
like an AOE damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so looking at this, it also says the haft is made of psi-conductive rotwood harvested from the Garden of Nurgle.
Oh,
Wow.
So it's psi-conductive. We all know how, we learned in the other episodes how much Mortarion hates psychers.
Yeah, man.
So what does he do? Well, I'm going to give all my boys scythes that conduct psychic capabilities.
yeah, I was about to say. So he says he hates psychers.
Yeah. I kind of want one.
Putting the psi and psyker in sight.
I really like that. What did you say the wood was made out of again?
Rotwood.
Ah, that's cool. There's a
And the fact-
sorcerer. Go for
Yeah,
it.
it's the fact it's from Nurgle's garden as well.
That's so cool. There's
Just the idea of Papa Nurgle is an old man pottering around the garden, like cargo shorts, polo shirt tucked in, wearing a pair of New Balance or Skechers.
seeing his favorite kid jumping on the tree, pulling branches off.
Maybe
There's
it
a
kind of makes a little connection with that too. Scythe being a farming tool and Nurgle being the, the gardening guy.
gardener.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's a fucking stretch, but
There's a cool sorcerer in the Lords of Silence who uses a staff that's made from the last surviving branch on Barbarus. So it caught my attention when you said the rotwood because I was like, oh, that's two magic rotting wood. Alchem weapons, a category of chemical warfare armament used by the Death Guard. Their use traces back to the Great Crusade, when Mortarion sanctioned the deployment of forbidden munitions across the Legion. These weapons replace standard promethium with corrosive toxic compounds capable of liquefying flesh in moments, dissolving armor seals, and rendering fortified positions uninhabitable. However, the same volatile agents that make them so effective also degrade and corrode the weapons that fire them, demanding constant maintenance and acceptance of equipment attrition as the cost of their use.
light weaponry. Unless you guys have something to add to the Alchem weapons. Light weaponry is a class of corrupted armaments used by the Plague Marines of the Death Guard, designed not merely to kill, but to saturate the battlefield with sustained infection and decay. Unlike conventional weapons that rely on impact or explosive force, Blight systems deliver virulent agents that persist within flesh, armor, and terrain, ensuring that nothing struck remains stable or uncontaminated. These weapons function as instruments of attrition in its most absolute form, turning wounds into spreading vectors of disease and the battlefields into zones of slow collapse. In the hands of the Death Guard, life weaponry reflects post-corruption doctrine. Victory is achieved not through swift annihilation, but through the patient, unavoidable breakdown of all resistance.
Just gonna rot you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nasty. I think I'll take the Alchem weaponry Thanks.
Yeah, no
Horse
kidding.
I'll happily be scythed. Yeah.
Explosives and infection at the same time. Ugh.
Yeah, it's just nasty. Just nasty. On
Yeah.
all levels.
Next part seems even fuckier, actually.
Do you want to take the next one, Gaff?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do it.
Plague weaponry. Plague weapons are corrupted armaments borne by the Plague Marines of the Death Guard after their fall to Nurgle. Once struck, their munitions and blades do not simply wound the enemy, but seed rapid corruption within the flesh and armor alike, spreading rot, disease, and structural decay across anything they touch. What begins as a single impact quickly becomes systemic failure, as infection and entropy consume both body and battlefield. These weapons embody the Legion's post-corruption doctrine, not swift destruction, but inevitable deterioration, where survival is impossible and every engagement ends in slow, festering ruin. Ugh.
You might survive for now, but we're
Yeah,
going to stretch this out and enjoy it.
The light weaponry and stuff sounds like, yeah, you're just gonna die a bit more painful, but the plague weaponry is more like they're gonna turn you into poxwalkers and whatnot, basically. Which is, worse. Have you guys ever played Darktide, by the way? Since they're the questions part now.
I haven't. I haven't yet. I'm ashamed to say.
Me too. I want to.
If you guys have a PC that's, somewhat decent, because of the summer sale, Darktide is on 75% discount right now, and I would really recommend you guys get it. Like, if you're into that kind of stuff. They recently added Skitari as one of the playable classes, which is
nice.
I've been hearing about that.
Yeah, Skitari tomorrow memes everywhere. Yeah, it's finally released. The game was in a bad state for a very long time, but it's getting much better now, adding classes and whatnot. And in that game, it's all about you're basically fighting a Nurgle cult, and the story is progressing into something else. And yeah, absolutely beautiful. If you're into that sort of thing, I recommend it. And yeah, we can go play together, even, guys.
Yeah,
I'm game. I'll pick that up.
I'm currently looking at it, so I'm going to look at that later on after the show's finished. So yeah, used to watch this way back in the day. Well, welcome back, Chronicle. Welcome back. Hello in the chat. So just in time for questions. What are your guys' favourite bit of the 30k Death Guard?
Yeah.
Well, for you guys in the chat, what do you think? What was your favourite bit?
Also, are we gonna do call-ins? Like, do we have do we know how to do that?
I don't think we're going to be able to, simply because without Mark, we're slightly hands off the tiller. But yeah, I dare say, if there is anyone in the chat that is desperate to call in, say hello in the chat. Make a point of saying, I will pass on who it was to make sure next week we get you on. But yeah, no. So we can't do a call in this week. I love the power scythes. For me, I've just got a thing. I come from farming stock. I've used a scythe. They're horrible to use, but I can just imagine it as a weapon would just be horrific.
That's cool.
I would just love it much more if it was a little bit more like a war scythe. Like, if you search it, it's just angled a little bit more upwards.
Yeah.
They basically changed the ergonomics up a little bit and turned it into a proper weapon. And that thing looks sick. I think that would fit much more. And you never see, the second image, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
it's
scary.
absolutely
Yeah, that makes sense. I see that being more practical than a scythe, I think.
Like, yeah, bigger blade just chops down limbs and whatnot. I think Morty could use the typical farming side, but if the rest of the Legion used that, I think it will be really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Especially since we don't really see stuff like this in most games and whatnot.
Yeah.
It almost seems like an anti-vehicle weapon. I'm sure it'd be great on people, but for like a long haft with a crescent blade that's also a power blade, like the most effective use, I see it like can opening a rhino on Isstvan. Like there's loyalists inside and he's just scratching it open.
And because of its shape, it's also like a stabbing weapon as well that goes just both ways. And like historically, they used stuff like this for like anti-cavalry, not just for stabbing, but like you can basically chop off the legs of the horses, since it's really sticky part of a poor animal. But yeah, I like it, but it kind of goes a little comical to see something a little bit too impractical on the Legion that's supposed to be all about functionality and no aesthetics, because the normal side is more like a stab weapon. You just put the point into someone. You can't really cut someone with that effectively. So yeah.
But damn, does it look cool?
yeah.
I think if
they
all
even
of...
need weapons. It's just for aura.
They are the weapons.
Yeah,
I think of all of the, at least to myself, of all of the traitor legions, I think the Death Guard have to have the strongest aesthetic, the clearest character to them. At least to me, like everything about them screams death and decay.
I'm pretty biased, but I'll go ahead and say I fully agree.
No, I do too.
Yeah.
You're pretty cool.
Yeah, so we'll call it there. Just a little side note, if you want to chuck Mark some money and you want to get yourself some little plastic board dollies, there is a Lorehammer promo code at Merlin Miniatures. If you're in the UK, you're out of luck. There is, of course, also the Lorehammer Listener Lore podcast. You can write in your own lore about your chapter, your company, whatever you like to do. And there's another podcast for that. Guys, do you have any shout outs you want to make?
You guys can go first. I don't really have anything.
All right. I don't have any shout outs, but I suppose I want to shout out the resources that are best. If you're interested in getting into Death Guard, they're super easy to get a hold of because their models are pretty new. I think they only came out in 8th edition. So that goes for their codexes too. There's only 3 available. 9th and 10th are very good codexes, but 8th edition, if you're not playing Death Guard, 8th edition is the one you want. That's the one where like half the codex is just lore and information. And they're subject to change, I think. If I had to take a guess with the Heresy rework, Mortarion and the Death Guard kind of get ignored until late in the Heresy, in terms of the novels at least. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were going to try to rework them or include them a little more in this revamp they're doing.
I do miss those lore-rich codexes. I will just say that. I do miss that. And to be honest, nothing from me. I mentioned last time about a painting Instagram that I'm working on. I'm nowhere near because it's been too hot in the UK to be able to get the airbrush out. So the desk behind me is looking very neglected. But I think that's all from us. I'm not.
I have one little shout out.
Oh yeah.
I kind of thought about like, what the fuck can I shout out about? Go listen to Grimlore podcast, the sister channel, basically, about Warhammer Fantasy and whatnot. And other than that, talking about Warhammer games, right now, Darktide is on heavy discount. I totally recommend it. But if you're more into the lore of general 40k, Rogue Trader is also on discount, and that game is fucking spectacular in terms of lore. Like, there's so many things I had no fucking idea about 40k, and I was like, is this canon? And I go check it, and it is actually canon. And yeah, it's also on heavy discount, 60%. Highly recommend it. Yeah, that's my shout out. Go treat yourselves. Pretty lovely stuff. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Well, thanks everyone. Have a fantastic time, and I'm just going to leave this in a very odd state.
Yeah.
And I suggest the three of us simply leave the studio. Mark can deal with the fallout.
Yeah. How do we close this?
Yeah, much love, everyone.
Yeah, no, thank you all. Have a great time. I might just give you guys a call on Discord just to have a little chinwag afterwards.